a little deceiving too. He gave him up late. He still had his team in the game a lot.
And the first pitch to Denard Span is outside as we are underway here at the stadium. Overcast day. Lights are on. Crowd still filing in. Span 1 for 7 so far in this series. And he fouls that one back. 1-1. Let's look at the game time weather conditions presented by Big Love Tees. 54 degrees, 46% humidity, high wind, 18 miles per hour. Forecast is for cool and cloudy. And the 1-1 to Span. There's a strike, and the count 1-2.
Cody, you've been in this situation before. I mean, you're a starting pitcher. You look up and, towards late May, and you've only got 3 decisions. You've got to get frustrated. You haven't racked up some wins, but again, you put yourself in a position that, you're 2-1, but as a starting pitcher, you want to put numbers up.
He puts up a K right now as Span could not hold up.
We talked about the early read on A.J. Burnett, and you see the spin on this knuckle curve. That's quick, it's late, it's tight. We saw that with Jabba yesterday, down and in, Paulie, that danger zone, but it's very tempting for lefties to offer it that, and that's a good sign for A.J. early in the game.
Well, David detailed how he hasn't pitched terribly, but he certainly has not picked up a win since April 14th, so that's a long stretch without a win over a month. And there's a good hard fastball low to Tolbert. He has not had a decision, AJ, here at Yankee Stadium yet in 3 starts. 0-0 with a 4.60 ERA. And against the Twins lifetime, 1-1 with a 4.21. Chad Fairchild does the honors behind the plate. The veteran crew chief John Hirschbeck at first. Wally Bell is at second. And Marty Foster is over at third. 2-0. Upstairs, 3-0.
You're right, Paul. He does get frustrated. You need to get something to show for your work. A.J. Burnett's the one guy in this rotation that Joe Girardi's comfortable letting get deep in the games, maybe throw 120 pitches, and trying to get through 7, 8 innings. I think the one start he'd like to have back is that one in Boston where he had a 6-0 lead.
Right. Early in the year when you haven't, thrown a ton of innings, just like we were talking about yesterday, how a batter's, average can fluctuate so much this time of year. It's ball 4. You don't get a true read yet.
Well, obviously, CC Sabathia can go deep into the games as well, but Burnett kind of assumed that stopper role early in the season. Really got off to a good start. You're right. He needs to get a win. He needs to get back on track.
Here's a dangerous Joe Mauer. Mauer comes in with a 9-game hitting streak, 15 for 35. And this is a different team. They score an average of 2 runs more per game with Mauer in there. Got off to a great start, 423. Burnett deals. Good fastball strike outside corner. So he's at 94 starting off the game. .22 hits in his first 50 at-bats, and that's the most hits for any player in his first 50 at-bats after beginning the season on the DL. Moises Alou, 24 in 2001. Runner goes, knocked down by Burnett. And there's 2 away. So Tolbert running, and then A.J. not fielding ball cleanly definitely keeps him out of a double play.
It'll sound like a cracked bat, like he got it off the end of the bat. But those sharp ones up the middle, you can tell that when they're off the end of the bat, you get a chance at it. That ball's hit on the nose, and it gets right up the middle.
Here's Justin Morneau. The Yankees have not been able to handle him. 3 home runs so far in this series. Got a good fastball Burnett does today. There's strike 1.
You see this right here, and you got a base open, and Justin Morneau's been hot as anybody in the league. But A.J. Burnett is one of those guys with that that ego because of the stuff that you have as a pitcher. You know, you're not going to give in to anybody.
Just missed outside.
You know, you're right, Paul. You almost find it challenging. You know, you want to find out how good you are as a pitcher
Yeah.
sometimes, and especially early in the game. Maybe later in the game, you might pitch around this guy in this situation. But
as the count gets in his favor, you kind of lose your guts a little bit, though, don't you?
1-1. That one gets away from Cash, and that allows Tolbert to go to third. Well, this is what the Yankees have to deal with Warno. 3 home runs in this series, and he has crushed a couple for sure.
Wow.
Those were 2 on Friday night. Now yesterday, again he goes into that second deck. He's a one-time MVP with the Twins, and he was second last year. Now the count's 3-1. It is Paul just intimated, David. Do you change your thinking now at 3-1?
well, you hit it on the head. You do kind of lose a little nerve in this situation. You want to be careful with this pitch right here, because we've seen Morneau get a lot of good swings and fastball counts.
Pretty good hitters on deck. Jason Kubel, 10 for his last 18, but still does not have the power of Morneau. Morneau with 12 home runs. Kubel has 5. (3-1). Just missed outside. So the second walk issued by A.J. Burnett.
Goes right after him, gets a call, high strike, just off the plate, good movement. That's his changeup right there. Rarely, kind of a power changeup. There's a high hook. Go ahead and let him go, just off the plate. Really careful. You see this pitch just off the plate. Morneau checks his swing. Did not want to give in to him right there.
You know, that 0-1 pitch, you had strike 1, and then you threw a borderline strike 2 pitch. The 0-1 made that count go 1-1. All of a sudden, it kind of changed that whole at bat. You get ahead 0-2, then, you know, you're going to be much more aggressive at trying to strike him out or get him out. All of a sudden, you start falling deeper in that count. And that plate gets smaller and smaller.
See what Kubel's done so far. Two good breaking balls, and the count 0-2.
Paulie, we've seen this. When you get a good breaking ball going, it almost stops. You know, it looks like it's going toward the outside corner, and then all of a sudden it just stops and goes straight down. That's when you know AJ's getting good tight spin.
Sometimes I think that never throw a strike 0-2 is kind of overrated. I think your first at bat as a hitter, you get up in a situation like this, and before you know it, it's 0-2, and then they waste a couple pitches. And as a hitter, it almost allows you to get comfortable and back into the bat. I think it's important for pitchers when they got guys on the rope to get this at bat over with and get in the dugout.
Kubel's hitting .212 with runners in scoring position, and that one's fouled straight back here.
Michael, I expect that coming to the booth and you barehanded before it hits me in the head.
I got your back.
Yeah.
I'm here for you.
Does that mean I better turn around so I don't have to watch?
I will field it cleanly and then give you the ball. Well, David, you said you could tell early. Does he have a good breaking ball today?
He's throwing a couple of really good ones, you know, and a couple of them that have been up too. But you can tell with AJ, you know, he starts throwing more and more. As you see, 11 and 11, which is not a good ratio so far in 22 pitches. And you can tell early when he gets confidence in it, he'll start throwing it back to back, and he'll throw it behind in the count. And he's throwing a couple of good ones, which has been a good sign. But it's still a little early to tell what kind of confidence he's going to have in that pitch today.
Hot shot up the middle, grabbed by Pena, flips to Jeter. Beautiful play as the Yankees get out of the jam. That was ticketed for center field and an RBI. An outstanding play by Ramiro Pena. Kubel hit it hard. Pena quickly to the backhand side and flips to Jeter. Twins nothing. Yankees coming to bat. Pena gets A.J. Burnett out of a jam. Let's take a look at the Yankees starting lineup. That's going to face Kevin Slowey, presented by BMW. The captain, the shortstop, Derek Jeter leads off. Johnny Damon at left, Mark Teixeira at first. Middle of the order, Alex Rodriguez, Hideki Matsui, and Nick Swisher. Bottom of the order, Melky Cabrera in center. Pena's at second. Cano's first day off. Kevin Cash will catch. He's the back.
Kevin Slowey on the season, 7 starts, 5-1 record, 4.91 ERA, 40 innings, 58 hits, but only 4 walks.
Yeah, the opponent's average 337 and 5-1. That's like doing it with mirrors, isn't it? Huh? Smoke and mirrors.
Getting some runs scored for you here and there.
And pitch to Jeter. A 1 hopper to second. Tolbert's there. And there's 1 away. 1 pitch, 1 out. So 1 down. That's going to bring up Johnny Damon. Let's take a look at the Jeep pitcher scouting report.
And as we just saw, he's a strike-throwing machine. Slowey has thrown more first-pitch strikes than first-pitch balls in 44 of his 45 career starts, in each of his last 31. Day and night, Paulie, during the daytime, during his career, he's 5-5 with a 6.01 ERA. At night, he's 16-8 with a 3.59 ERA. It tells you a little bit about day and night.
He'll start getting his rest, huh?
And a little bit of lefty trouble, in his career, or actually in 09 so far. Lefties are hitting 391 off of him, 34 for 87 and 5 homers. Righties only hitting 282, 24 for 85 with only 2 homers.
And a strike to Damon, count 1 and 2.
You're right, Paulie. I mean, the amazing part about David Wells' perfect game is it was a day game.
That's right.
For that cat,
Might have just been coming in,
Sunday day game after Saturday night.
Yours was a day game too, Mr. Cohn.
Mine was a day game, and it certainly was. I like to get it over with early because then I know you can go out and have a nice dinner at night afterwards. Paulie, Doc Gooden was that way. So take a look at David Wells. Look at that mug. Well, that's a recognizable helmet right there.
That thing used to have some hair on his head. Did you see the perfect game, all that hair he had on his head?
He had a little cabbage patch up front up here. He used to put some gel in and try to get it spiked up.
It all fell off and went on his chin.
2-2. Swing and a miss. And Damon down on strikes. Let's take a look at the Minnesota Twins defense in this game. In the outfield, Span, Gomez, and Kadire left to right. Infield, Busher, Punto, Tolbert, and Morneau. Maurer behind the plate, and Slowey gets good defensive support. He's on the mound. In fact, Twins play very good defense. No errors in their last 10 games, and they have 13 errors, the fewest in the American League. Only the Phillies have committed fewer errors, and they have 11. I'm amazed by this stat. I mean, we always give it. David was 128 and 82 at night, 3.51 ERA, but in the day, 66 and 44 with a 3.38 ERA. You were better in the day.
I told you, just something to look forward to. You had a night off. You can go out at night, get that day game over with. The guy who I played with, who remarkably was Dwight Gooden. When he was with the Mets, he was awesome at night, but during the day, he just didn't like pitching during the day.
Doc was a little groggy during the day. Was in there eating breakfast, and Boomer Wells came in and sat, and we were talking. He says, "Yeah, I got to show you something." He pulled out his phone. I'm thinking, he's going to show me his kids or something. Got a picture of a bear he just shot in Alaska. I'm like, big old bloody bear. I'm like, it's beautiful, Boomer.
Mark Teixeira cannot check his swing on a high fastball. A 9-pitch inning for Kevin Slowey as the Yankees go down in order, and we go to the second. No score. Time to take a look at the American Airlines upcoming schedule. One more game against the Twins tomorrow night at 7. Then the Orioles come into town. They fly in Tuesday night on My 9. Wednesday night back on Yes. Thursday night on My 9. All the Oriole games, 7 o'clock starts. After that, the Phillies come to town as interleague play begins. There's Michael Kadire. He swings at the first pitch and fouls it away. We broke out some day game, night game comparisons for you, Paul O'Neill. Now, what do you think you hit better on?
Night.
You do?
Yeah, because I can't see in the day. It was too bright. I don't like it. There's nothing like hitting a baseball under the bright lights.
Well, then I love to have this stat. You're a 287 hitter at night, 290 in the day.
See, your stats are off sometimes.
How's that wrong? This is right, man. You hit better in the day.
How come you're showing me the card here?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's 3-point difference, but you're consistent. You got your sleep all the time. Now, we broke out David Wells, and David Wells, there is a difference. Breaking ball, strike 3. Kadire down looking. David had a 4.62 ERA in the day, 3.92 at night. So he wasn't looking forward to dinner like you, David.
Numbers don't lie.
So one down, and here is Brian Busher. He has a 4-game hitting streak. There's a strike.
See the difference in that strike one curveball and the one that he really snaps off to try to get a strikeout. And Cody, we talked about it, how important it is to be able to throw that strike one with a curveball. It's almost a gimme strike.
Fly ball left field. Johnny Damon. 2 outs.
It can be a difference maker, especially for a right-handed pitcher against left-handed batters. And you're going to face obviously more lefties if you're a righty. And we saw that with Phil Hughes the first night. He couldn't get that curveball over for strikes consistently when he needed to. And you're right, Paul. You got one you throw for a strike early in the count. You got one you try to finish hitters with. And A.J. Burnett, he can, even though he's only got one knuckle curve, he can variate the break.
Carlos Gomez with a chopper to Jeter. And that's going to do it. A nice, easy 1-2-3 inning for A.J. Burnett. And he did it on just 6 pitches. I guess they all have those dinner plans that David's talking about. We go to the bottom of the second, no score. Yankees Baseball on Gas is brought to you in part by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. And by IOTV. IOTV offers you incredible picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV. Now here's Alex Rodriguez. Ended yesterday's game with a walk-off 2-run home run as the Yankees won 6-4. And we actually played around with the idea before he actually swung the bat. Would the Yankees even consider to have him sacrifice Teixeira to second? Alex rips one foul, and Alex, I was talking with him in the clubhouse today. He said, I was not bunting. And I said, well, have you ever sacrificed in your life? He said, as a matter of fact, when I was a rookie, I would bat second and ninth on the Mariners. Pinella had me sacrifice 5 times. He said, but remember, I was 12 years old then. So they didn't sacrifice, and he hits a 2-run home run. He did say, you can almost see the way he's carrying himself. He said he's never had more fun playing. He said the 2 home runs that he's hit, the one on the first swing in Baltimore and the one yesterday, he said they've got to be up in the top 10 of the home runs that I've hit, just in terms of emotion and how they made me feel. So he's in a pretty good place right now. The 0-2 outside. And Mark Teixeira was talking about, he said, you know, a lot of people say A-Rod's struggling. He said, but if you watch the way pitchers are pitching him, they're not pitching him like he's in spring training mode. They're not giving him great pitches to hit, he said, and he is walking a lot. A-Rod said to him, he's like almost a week into spring training. That's where he's at with his swing. He said, but it will come. That one is driven out to right field. Dyer there. And there's one away.
And I tell you, if you watch some of his bats now, it's like his bottom half and his hands aren't in sync yet. And you can tell when that happens, you don't have the pop. I mean, usually the ball just explodes off his bat. And if you'll see that ball that he just hit, the ball's not carrying yet. It's because everything's just not in sync right now. But, you know, if you make a mistake like they did in the 11th inning yesterday, you can still see what he can do with the ball.
Here's Hideki Matsui. Yesterday came in, pinch hit a double. So he had the day off before that pinch hit appearance. And he hits against the Twins, that's for sure. A .330 average. Tried to pull the outside pitch, rolled it over, and grounds to second. And there are 2 outs against Slowey. Let's take a look at tomorrow night's starting pitchers, brought to you by Verizon Fios. Over 100 HD channels and the fastest internet. This is Fios. This is big. Glenn Perkins will go for the Twins, 1-2, 4.27. Andy Pettit, 3-1. And a 4 ERA for the Yankees. And our coverage begins here at 6 o'clock. Speaking of starting pitching, the Yankees have won 5 of their last 6 games, and their starters during that stretch 3.72. And the game's simply not that tough if you get good starting pitching. Everything is predicated on that. Phil Hughes and CC Sabathia with Andy Pettit and Gene Monahan alongside.
Gino was the one in deep thought there. Did you see that?
Gino, now that's a goon right there. Talking about the goon meter, Michael, you know, gooning, that's a good goon right there.
Now,
Gooning
for those that didn't join us on Friday, gooning is falling asleep on the bench.
Well, no, just daydreaming, just kind of drifting off. Sometimes your mouth will drift open a little bit, maybe a little drool on your lip.
But you know what? If he gets an injury, he's out there immediately, sprinting.
He's been the Yankee trainer since 1973. That's a long run. He became the team's trainer when George Steinbrenner bought the team.
You'd walk into that training room, you know, in the old stadium. First of all, you'd see the scale, you know, from like the Babe Ruth era. And then you'd see Gino running around in his like little good humor outfit with his, you know, his white pants and his. It was so official, you know. You knew where you were, you know, somebody could take you in blindfolded, and soon you knew where you were.
1-2. Strike 3. Swisher down looking. Swisher's now 1 for his last 20. And Slowey has had really an impressive 2 innings as he's retired the first 6 Yankees. 1-2-3. 1-2-3. Speaking of 3, we go to the 3rd. There's no score here at the stadium on Yes. We go to the third inning here at the stadium. Both pitchers hooked up in a scoreless duel on the Modell scoreboard. Modell's the official sporting goods retailer of the Yankees. Nick Punto shows bunt. Takes the pitch inside. The Twins have not had much success here in the Bronx of late. Since the start of the 2002 season, they are 3-21, and they've been outscored 139-75. There's a strike. They've lost 8 straight series here in the Bronx. They've lost their last 6 games and 9 of their last 10. And Gardenhire still has a little bit of a smile. Now, Gardenhire and Girardi got into a little verbal altercation on Friday, and talked to Joe about it today, and you'll hear his full answer on the Joe Girardi show after the game. But they have not spoken. He said, I'm sure we will. I respect him as a manager and as a man. He said, but I didn't want him yelling at my player. He said, I've got to protect my players. He said Gomez was yelling at Teixeira. That's just fine. Teixeira was running and yelling at Gomez, he said, which is fine. He said, but then Gardenhire started to yell at Teixeira, and this is the play they were yelling about. And when Gardenhire started yelling at Teixeira, that's when Girardi went at Gardenhire. Punto fouls away. It's a little odd that they have not crossed paths to patch it up yet, but that has not been the case. Joe said hopefully sometime during the season we will. Players notice that though when a manager steps up for them?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. I think you notice it more when they don't, to tell you the truth. I think you almost expect it that the players and the manager are behind you. The worst thing I ever saw was Joe Torre ran out one night to argue with the home plate umpire, and I was probably questioning a call or something. And somebody had thrown, he said it was like a peach pit or something. Now, how he knew that, I don't know, but it hit him in the top of the head. It came down from the foul ball. It came down from like the upper deck, and he's like rubbing his head. He didn't say a thing to the umpire. He walked right back to the dugout. So that night after the game, I'm like, Skip, what happened? He said, I got hit with that peach pit, and I forgot what I was going to argue, so I just turned around and went back to the dugout.
The 2-2. And the count full of 3-2. You do not want to lose the number 9 batter. That peach pit might have hit you.
What do you bring a peach pit to the ballpark for?
They probably brought a peach to the ballpark, and the pit was left over.
So you just chuck it out of the upper deck, and it just happens to hit Joe Torre on the top of the head?
3-2. It's popped away. Denard Span is on deck. Punto's put together a 10-pitch at bat. You see the patch that says Carl on the right shoulder of the Twins, and that's to honor the memory of Carl Pohlad, their owner, who passed away during the offseason. (3-2) driven out to left field. Damon makes the play right in the corner. That ball kept traveling a little bit more than Damon thought it would. 1 down.
You're talking about good defensive placement. This ball was hit right down the line, rather deep. This is what happens when you're offensively going through a tough thing as a player. You just kind of shake your head and like, well, man, how can a guy be playing me right down the line there?
You hit that ball in batting practice, that's a double, right?
Absolutely.
All the way.
That will drop Punto under 200. Here's Denard Span. And a strike.
Talk a lot about first, with pitchers and A.J. Burnett. In his career, when A.J. Burnett gets the first strike after 0-1, opposing batters have batted 189. Sometimes it's just a simple game, Paulie. I mean,
right.
There's more to it than that, but there's a lot of truth in those numbers. Just a difference between strike one and ball one.
Coming to think about it too, there were a lot of guys that some hitters just go up and take every time they almost give you a strike. But power pitchers and guys that have the ability to strike you out, you got to go up and be aggressive, because if you get behind in the count, you know, they're just too good.
Strike 3. Span down looking. Hey fans, it's time for the Toyota text poll. Today's question is, what has been the Yankees' most dramatic regular season win against the Twins since David Wells' perfect game? You can text to 58772. Standard text messaging rates apply. Giambi's walk-off grand slam, Bernie Williams' walk-off division clincher, Melky Cabrera's walk-off single Friday, and Alex Rodriguez's walk-off home run Saturday. I have no opinion on that one.
That's a lot of games, right?
A lot of games.
What's that, 11 years ago?
Yep, 11 years ago today. Nicer day 11 years ago.
Yeah, I remember. The sun was shining.
Matt Tolbert fouls that one off.
Paulie, didn't you get Norm Charlton in the playoffs in '95 at Yankee Stadium?
Yeah.
Bomb.
Yeah.
Up and over to Bleacher Creatures.
That's after the place just stopped shaking from like 2 innings before, because Mattingly hit a home run, and that's as loud as it got the whole time.
I'll never forget that playoff series with Mattingly. That was incredible.
Swing and a miss. AJ's dealing. His 4th strikeout. He's retired 7 in a row as the Twins go down in order. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. No score. David Wells becomes part of forever. 27 up and 27 down. On top of the world, Ma. Top of the world. Does it seem like 11 years ago as David Wells joins us in the booth?
It's a trip. It doesn't. I mean, but time, it just goes to show how time flies, you know, in between whatever else you're doing, you know.
And here's the man who caught the ball right here. You didn't have any doubt, right?
Well, you know, the funny thing is, though, you're in such a habit of catching the last out and kind of flipping it and staying. So I'm just thinking, catch the last ball, and it's like, you know, Boomer might want this one, you know.
Well, what'd you do with brownies?
I didn't catch the last ball. I don't know what happened with that.
I thought you caught that last one. Well, you were involved in a bunch anyways. Just follow Paul Neal. You can have some success.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then some excitement, too, because you get to see him beat the heck out of the water ball at the end of the dugout.
Melky Cabrera leads off. Kevin Slowey has a perfect game going through 2. And the pitch is outside. David, when did you know something special was going on that day?
It was probably right after like the 7th inning. That one at bat with Paul Molitor. I went 3-1, and I was talking with David last night about it. He goes, that's really when we knew, you know, he goes, I knew you were going to get it then. After that battle with him, you know, a couple good pitches.
Run down by Span as Cabrera's retired.
That were there. So after that, it was great. But David really settled me down because I'm looking for a conversation. You see, I go into the dugout, guys are they're running. They won't have a conversation with me. I go into the clubhouse and he's right there, and he didn't know what to do. And he said, drop a knuckleball. He goes, you show me nothing if you don't go out there and throw a knuckleball. So he took the edge off, but at least he went out. He said something to me because it broke the ice. And I know, and then I came in, and he's like, he started yelling at me because I didn't throw a knuckleball. So I was like, what the heck's going on? But it calmed the nerves. He did his job. He did his job.
There's Ramiro Pena. There's a strike.
You did have a good knuckleball, though.
Yeah. I threw it in 07 was my last year, and I broke it out. Half the season, I was throwing knuckleballs out there, tripping all the hitters out.
Not more than that. That's a way to take the game serious.
Now
you got to invent stuff when you don't throw 95 anymore.
Now, David Cohn said on a batting practice show, I said, well, how about the post game? After the perfect game, he said, we've got good memories that we don't remember. Do you remember what you did post game?
Guys have to tell me. Whoever was with us for the next 3 days, they had to tell me what was going on. I couldn't tell you.
Did it change your life, the perfect game?
Pretty much, yeah. Well, put you on the map. You're ever indebted. The Yankee fans will never forget it, obviously. But coming to New York, it's just great coming here because of the fact that nobody forgets what's going on. You go out, you're doing signings all the time. You can make a little extra on the side. So you're always gonna make some type of some cash flow doing whatever.
You said
it is.
It changed our life as a team because I can remember distinctly you were the best pitcher in the league from then on. I mean, there was no doubt about it. You didn't win the Cy Young that year because, if you'd have got off to a good start, you might have.
Right.
But after that perfect game, when you took the mound, there wasn't a setback where you just lived on that for a while. You were the best pitcher in the league all the way through the World Series that year.
Well, you don't want it to be a one-hit wonder out there. You want to kind of, and the team that we had, as long as you went out and you went deep into the game, sometimes you didn't have to. You could go 5 innings because we were scoring a ton of runs. But you had the best defense up the middle. You had the outfield covered. So even on the days you didn't have your best stuff, you make a good pitch, let the other guys earn their money. And that's what we did. And that's the way I looked at it, because you got to go out there with the team that we had. If you didn't win at least 15 or more, there was something wrong with you.
Well, you were 18-4 that year, and you had a great season. Pena pops it up.
Well,
let's see if that's in play as Buscher's in foul territory. 2 outs.
Well, winning was everything that year. I mean, it was in the beginning. We started off really slow, like the Yankees are doing this year, but then we came to. We gelled as a team, and when you're out there gelling as a team, I mean, winning just was expected, especially from the fans' point, because we were doing it. And it was contagious, and we just kept rolling all through the whole year.
David, I got to tell you, I've known you a long time. You're in a suit and tie.
Dude, I'm trying to get as skinny as O'Neal over here. He's got like a 28 waist. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. What does it take to get like that, dude?
Well, Kevin Slowey's flirting with a perfect game. 9 up, 9 down. David, it's great to see you. Congratulations. 11 years.
Oh, 11 years. And hey, can I say hello to my boy Patrick? Boy, he's up in Coney's suite. He's with his company, Daytran Media, and so I just want to say thanks for doing that, and thank you guys.
You got it.
Thanks.
Well, we go to the fourth inning here at the stadium. There's no score. And Joe Mauer will lead off against A.J. Burnett. Good to see David Wells, 11 years to the day where he visited perfection. A lot of people forget this. I'm sure you guys don't. A couple of weeks later, he almost threw a perfect game against the Oakland A's. I think he took it into the 7th inning. And I remember he gave up a hit in the 7th inning. He ended up winning the game. I was talking to him the next day. He said, I really didn't want to pitch it. He said, it's too much work. He said, it would have been too much of a distraction for the rest of the year. I got my perfect game. I didn't want to be greedy. I did not want to pitch that perfect game. You buy that?
Well, he told me that too as well. I mean, he was a wreck. He was a nervous wreck going through it the second time. And you know, you said it best, Paulie. He was the best pitcher in the league. When he threw that perfect game from on, he sustained it. He was the one guy who could beat Cleveland. If you remember that Cleveland lineup in 1998, they thought they could beat us. They were almost as good a lineup. But you could flip the top two hitters. Roberto Alomar and Omar Vizquel were switch hitters. You make them bat right-handed, and you can neutralize Jim Thome, the lefty. They were a different lineup against left-handed pitching, and they knew it, and Boomer buried them. And he was a big key to us getting by Cleveland.
I never asked you this. Did you talk to him during the second perfect game?
No. You know, it got broken up before that point. You know, where you really, you know, the 7th, 8th, the last 9 outs are when everybody really starts to split, and it's a ghost. You know, on the bench, nobody wants to talk to the starting pitcher, and the superstitions start to kick in. So we never really got to that point.
2-2. Bauer swings and misses on the breaking ball in the dirt. Cash gets an angle. And that's the 5th strikeout for A.J. Burnett. Time for the New York State Smokers Quit Line quiz. And it involves David Wells' perfect game, the 11th anniversary. Which 3 players who played in that game are still active today? Now, I know you're active, Paul, but active on the field. Don't guess. You know, we could lose our jobs if you do. Bottom of the 4th, we'll all find out.
Wrong anyway.
Yeah, you've been hot this year.
I know this one, too.
Nubbed in front of the plate. 0-1. Early gauge on Burnett. He's got good stuff.
Very good stuff. You see, anytime you can strike out a guy like Mauer with that hard slider down, and then he jumps up with his power fastball. He's got some life on his fastball. And when you see Mauer take a swing like that, you know he's got a good one today.
Line drive, base hit. Morneau's such a good hitter. Swisher fields. And gets the ball in.
You know, as a pitcher there, Coney, when you're facing Morneau and you throw a fastball like he got, it ends up in a good hitting zone. You almost hold your breath. And, you know, although you see that ball ends up right over the middle of the plate. And you all just lucky you got away with a single instead of a home run.
You know, we talked about A.J. Burnett being a 2-pitch pitcher. This is actually his version of a changeup. It's a power changeup, 88 miles an hour. Burnett's fastball's up in the mid-90s. And he'll show it on occasion, but you can see that one was flattened up and just kind of sped up Morneau's bat.
Is that the old BP fastball?
The old BP fastball, exactly. It was right there.
Jason Kubel laces one into center field. It's a base hit. Melky Cabrera played it on a second hop. He backed up, and good base running by Morneau as he goes to third. For some reason, Melky Cabrera let that ball play him. Morneau saw it, was right in front of him, and took the extra base.
Well, you're correct, Michael. I mean, he got a good read, and Melky Cabrera got back on his back heels. And anytime you can catch an outfielder leaning back on their heels, they're not going through the base where they're going to throw, and you can take that extra base. And that's all just a good read from Justin Morneau, because the ball's in front of him when you're running from first base. You see Melky on the back there, it just takes too long to get rid of the ball. See him on the back heels right now, and you just take that extra base knowing there's not much you can get on that throw. You don't have to be the fastest guy in the lineup to be a good base runner.
First and third, 1 out. Now the Twins usually cash in on something like this, at least with a sac fly. They have 14 sac flies this year. And there's a ground ball to third. Let's see if they can turn 2. There's 1 on the first. It's a double play. An inning ending around the horn. 5-4-3 double play, and a nice turn at second by Ramiro Pena. Kadire chopped it to A-Rod. Didn't field it that cleanly. Got it to Pena, who then got it to Teixeira. 5-4-3 end of the inning. We go to the bottom of the 4th. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning. There's a lot of zeros on the board. 0-2-0, and the Yankees have gone up, 3 down, 3 innings in a row. So the leadoff batter, Derek Jeter, will start the fourth against Kevin Slowey. Now we know Slowey is 5-1, but as David showed us earlier in his scouting report, the league's hitting 348 against him. So 9 up, 9 down is very odd because he does let you put the ball in play. This is the Yankees' second time around. The 0-1. Foul back.
Well, the thing about Slowey, you know, we showed his high ERA relative to his record, 5-1, but really, he's given up 22 earned runs this year, 10 of them in his first 2 starts. And he's starting to get it going. He's a strike throwing machine. He beat Detroit in his last start, 6 innings, 1 earned run. So sometimes the numbers are a little deceiving. He got off to a little slow start. You know, he did get 1 win. You know, a couple times he's pitched, he's given up 5 earned runs and gotten wins out of it. That explains why he's 5-1.
A couple of people compare him, Paul, to a former Twin pitcher, Brad Radke. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do. Even in his delivery a little bit. And if you look at it, the pitches he throws, if he doesn't have quite the changeup, Brad Radke had a really, really good changeup, and that was his out pitch to lefties. But, you know, he'll throw that sinker. He's got a breaking ball. In his delivery, you know, right over the top there, kind of like Radke the past.
Ground ball to Busher. Jeter beat it out. There's a base hit. Developed slowly. And Busher took his time, and Jeter beat it out for an infield single. Yankees' first hit.
You know, Jeter gets a lot of these just because he gets out of the box, puts a little pressure on the defense, and you see that, you know, just that little trouble in the exchange from the glove to the hand, and you're saying, you know, you got a base hit.
Really close play at first.
You know, a lot of hitters will get caught on their back leg trying to drive the ball out. You know, Jeter's style, kind of inside out, already gets him going towards first base. He gets out of the box well. That makes such a difference when you're trying to beat out an infield hit.
There's Johnny Damon against Slowey, keeping Jeter close. You know, the Yankees have also had Slowey work economically, and it makes sense because he averages 0.9 walks per 9 innings, so he's not going to walk you. So why sit there and get yourself deep into a count and down an account? So they're jumping on the first strike they see. There's a 1-0 on Slowey right now.
Kevin Slowey, 21-13 in his career. As you see those base on balls numbers, just remarkable. I mean, in 267 in a third career innings, he's only walked 39 guys.
Runner goes. Hit and run was on. Throw to second. Not in time. Boy, that was a nice scoop by Punto. Made it a lot closer. It was hit and run. Damon couldn't hit the ball, but Jeter steals second nonetheless.
A lot of times you will put the hit and run on with the guy who's around the plate. Johnny Damon gets a tough pitch to handle. The short hop, I don't know. Cheat got his foot in there or not, but you know, it's a tough pitch to hit and run. You're right, Michael. Good pick by Punto. Looks like he was safe.
8th stolen base of the year. He's been caught once. Now Damon wants to pull the ball, and he bunts a drag bunt. Slowey makes the play. Good thought by Johnny Damon, and he moves Jeter to third.
You know, when you got speed, you can accomplish things in different ways, and if he pulls that ball a little harder and gets it by the pitcher, it's also a base hit, but at least you're getting the runner over. And when that first run of the game is always the toughest one to get, so you got to try to manufacture that sometime.
Especially when you see your guy, A.J. Burnett, throwing the ball so extremely well, and you kind of get a quick read in this game that runs are a commodity, and let's go ahead and do it right now and see if they can get a run.
Twins know that, too. They pull the infield in to try to cut off a run. Here's Mark Teixeira. Struck out in the first. Grounded back. Time for the New York State Smokers Quick Line quiz answer. David Wells pitched that perfect game against the Twins 11 years ago today. Which 3 players who played in that game are still active? Paul?
There's one trick one. The one trick one is LaTroy Hawkins. Yeah, and I had the other 2. And the only reason I saw it because we had him on the air the other day, and I saw a picture of him thinking, you know, he was pitching that game.
The 0-1. You've been on fire this year, O'Neill. What's going on?
I better get out of town before I get out of my slump.
We'll get into one.
Yep.
Jeter with 8 stolen bases did not have his 8th last year until August 15th. So he's ahead of his home run pace, and he's ahead of his stolen base pace. 1-1. 2-1.
I'm a little disappointed in both of you guys. You know, we got a wraparound series Monday night game tomorrow. You're both leaving me. Gonna bring Ken Singleton in. I'm hanging. I'm staying. I'm doing the game tomorrow.
You know, we would leave this in nobody else's hands that we didn't feel like could do the job, Coney.
Ryan will be here too.
And just think, if Kenny misses his flight tomorrow, you're up here solo. I'd love to hear it.
There's a strike. Well, Paul and I are going to this carnival in Columbus. So
yeah, that's right.
Cotton candy, you know, fried dough, the whole
Can't
deal.
you just see us,
You
Michael?
and me on a Ferris wheel.
You and I on a Ferris wheel. Huh? Merry-go-round and all.
Counterbalance the weight from those two noggins. I'll tell you that. Sorry, Michael. I had, you know.
The 2-2. Strike 3 to Sheridan rookie. That's a big strikeout for Slowey, as the Yankees don't get the runner in from third with less than 2 outs.
Well, look at the sequence. Slowey's a strike throwing machine right after. That's the pitch to Sheridan right there. That was a good one. That's off the plate. You got 1-1. Little slider down and in. Fastball right there. He gets the call. Another one. That one's definitely a strike. A little swing back pitch. He's got good movement. Starts it in off the plate. Runs it back.
I mean, the pressure is on the pitcher to get a strike out there, and you have to make a couple real quality pitches to strike out a guy like that. And if you look at that sequence, he did. He made those 2 pitches inside. He got the first call, and then he made a perfect pitch on strike 3.
And there's strike 1 to Alex Rodriguez. Alex flew out to right in the second. 148, but you see his on-base percentage quite representative at 361. He's been walking a lot. Jeter remains on third with 2 outs. Yesterday's home run by A-Rod, his 8th walk-off in his career, 5 of them with the Yankees. And his 555th home run of his career, 8 now behind Reggie Jackson. Bottom of the 4th, no score. The 0-2 is high.
Mike, I saw a picture today of Reggie Jackson. It looked like almost a press conference when he got here or something. Do you remember that when he got here?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, was it similar to when A-Rod came over here? Or was baseball just in a different
I think it was in a different way, but I mean, for Reggie Jackson to come here and George Steinbrenner really put the full court press on him, and the 21 club, the whole deal, it was a big deal. The 1-2. Because the Yankees had made the World Series the previous year, but they got swept by the Reds. And George Steinbrenner was hoping that Reggie would put them over the top, and that's exactly what happened.
Reggie asked George, I think Reggie told me one time he asked George for a Rolls Royce as part of that deal.
Just as a little signing bonus throw in?
He never had a roll. He wanted a Rolls Royce thrown in, a little perk.
Well, Reggie certainly lived up to the terms of his contract for those 5 years. He did a good job, and then in the 77 series, the 3 home runs in the final game. Not too bad. And then a candy bar after that. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees. You ask for anything outrageous in any of your big deals, David?
No, you know, I was embarrassed to ask for. I didn't like incentive bonuses. I figured, just get you the kind of money you're signing for. I mean, I don't begrudge anybody, but
popped up right side. Morneau is there, and that's going to do it here in the 4th inning. So Jeter was at third with 1 man out, and the Yankees couldn't get him in. Still no score as we go to the 5th at the stadium. Thanks, Bob. Wow, Adam Lynn has been on fire all year, and Halliday could go 8-1 if they win that game. On the Lexus scoreboard right here at the stadium, there's no score as we go to the 5th. Brian Busher against A.J. Burnett. Bottom of the Twins order. Pitches outside.
Wait, 8 wins by the middle of May, Paulie. That's just ridiculous numbers.
Yeah, you figure that if you can get to 10 or 12 by the All-Star break, that's unbelievable when you got 8 by the middle of May. Wow.
And 8-1, so he's getting a decision every time out.
We've been talking a lot. I mean, these last 2 innings have you have to give all the credit in the world to both the starting pitchers. Both of them had a situation with men on third base, 1 out, and neither of them scored. One with a double play, and Slowey with a strikeout.
Burnett's given up 2 hits. Slowey's given up 1 infield hit. Burnett's thrown 58 pitches and 39 strikes. Great strike to ball ratio. Better than 2-1. Fouled away. Kevin Slowey has just wriggled out of that jam.
Neither pitchers look like they've even broken a sweat yet, Paulie. We've got a 57-degree day here. Nice, cool day, spring day in the Bronx. Similar to the way the weather was for Boomer's perfect game. It's kind of an overcast, a little cooler, but nice day.
I can't remember what I did that night. I remember the night your perfect game was. Springsteen was in concert that night, so that kind of topped off the day. I don't remember Boomer's though.
There's a base hit in front of Swisher off the bat of Busher. AJ has 5 strikeouts so far today. Let's take a look at him.
Well, that was the first hitter of the game. A little slider, another knuckle curve. Fastball running back, another slider down. Well, you can tell, like we said early in the game, when he gets that breaking ball, you know, slider, curveball. You know, some guys call their pitches sliders, and they're more curveball. We talked earlier, Paulie. A.J. Burnett's got the ability to variate that break, and some go down, some have a little more side to side. He's had a good one today.
Low.
How these 2 teams have played. I mean, in the starting pitching, it's almost hard to get off the off the blocks and get some runs. But all of a sudden, you get into those bullpens, and it seems like these teams score at will. So, you know, it's kind of how deep in the game can your starters get you.
Gomez shows bunt and then pops it up. Ramiro Pena. And Gomez now 0 for his last 10. He's 0 for 2 today.
Well, you know, you're right, Paulie, especially in today's game when we talked about Halliday up in Toronto and all the complete games, and you know the value of a guy like A.J. Burnett or CC Sabathia that don't come out after 6 innings. They can give you some complete games, 7, 8 inning appearances. You know, that's why those guys are getting big contracts in the offseason, because you know they could save your bullpen. And you know, if you can go 7, 8 innings as a starter and throw some complete games in there, boy, it's even more valuable in today's game than it used to be.
Here's Nick Punto. Strike. Consistently at 94, AJ today.
You don't see anything straight coming out of his hand today. Everything's got movement. At 94, when that ball with, you know, a good sharp breaking ball in the high 80s and a 94-mile-an-hour sinker, 2-seamer, whatever you want to call it, it's got movement. It's kind of hard to track as a hitter.
Another strike. No score, top of the 5th inning, a Sunday in New York.
It's a song, isn't it, Michael?
New York on Sunday, big city taking a nap. I think that's Bobby down.
It's all right, that's 1-0, you're winning.
almost see Burnett there. He's starting, Paulie, you know, with, almost like pitchers start with a splitter grip. You know, sometimes they'll start with that knuckle up, or, you know, you can almost, you know, when you hold that ball behind your leg there, you can almost tell what kind of grip they want to go to. You know, I used to start with a splitter grip and then switch to the fastball grip, because obviously you don't want to tip your pitches in the game, or obviously in your glove. But you can see there, that's the fastball grip. Up and away with that one.
Lofted to center field. Melky Cabrera there. 2 outs.
Tony, you talked about it. Most pitchers who throw split fingers start with that split finger grip because it's easy to go to a fastball. And,
Today after the postgame on Yes, Don't Miss, an all-new WB Mason presents the Joe Girardi Show as the skipper analyzes the state of the team. Then go fishing with CC Sabathia and Nick Swisher on a new episode of Yankees on Deck. It's all coming up today after the postgame, only on Yes. Yankees on Deck is Coney's show.
Coney, you got a show too?
I guess you could call it that. Yeah, I'm the host.
You got to get Boomer in there. How to blow away a grizzly bear. Huh?
A little hunting special, right?
Yeah.
Get Boomer up in Alaska.
The 0-1.
Wow.
You know, we talked about Span and all the spoiled pitches that he's had over this series. You know, when I faced a guy like this that's got speed, you know, we've seen Burnett pound him in today, and that's what you do. You see, that's an underwater swing again, like he's swinging at a swimming pool. But, you know, he's just waiting so long for the ball to get on top of him, and then he can foul those pitches off away. These are the guys that want to pound him in, up in the zone, make him hit the ball in the air. You don't want him to slap that little ground ball to the left side and run like the daylights.
It's amazing how you can pound guys in, and by the end of the game, they start opening up, and they've lost their swing anyway. So you can take a hitter out of his game by the way you pitch him the first couple of times up.
Tried to tie him up right there in the count 1-2. Because pitchers are always on such pitch counts and things like that, you know, anything past 120, people start to get nervous. Why even ever waste an 0-2 pitch? Why? Why don't you try to put the guy away on 0-2?
The old school managers and pitching coaches used to really get on guys if you gave up an 0-2 base hit. You know, you had a pitch to waste. Why didn't you be more careful? And I couldn't agree more. I like to put them away as soon as possible. But Paulie, as you said before, now you got a 2-2 count.
Right, and as a hitter, you feel like you're back into a hitter's count. Now it almost, the pressure has been pulled off you. You're 0-2. There's so much things to cover, outside, inside, up, down, and all of a sudden now you're 2-2. It's like, all right, now I'm on even ground with you. And, you know, you're right. The old days, 0-2 was just a purpose pitch. And, you know, you throw a ball 3 feet over the guy's head, who cares? That's just a wasted pitch. It didn't set up anything.
You know, you'd see that with all the time. Mike Messina was always ahead of somebody 0-2, and then you looked up and it was 3-2 because he's trying to make the perfect pitch, going outside the strike zone, not going right after the guy, and that starts with the 0-2 philosophy to waste.
You know, Dick Hauser, the late Dick Hauser was a manager for the Yankees and the Royals, and I was a rookie with Dick Hauser. Had a fine for pitchers if he gave up an 0-2 base hit.
Really,
he'd fine you $500.
Pete Rose did the same thing. He just never wanted to see 0-2.
Wow.
Pitcher give up a hit.
Runner goes, and there he's walked Span. So Span on. Busher moves to second.
I'll tell you what, Span, we've seen in this series, he hasn't got a lot of hits with 2 strikes, but he's battled a lot of counts, and I've seen 2 or 3 walks by just laying off, you know, battling, spoiling a few pitches, and you know, sooner or later the pitchers walk him.
Now here's Matt Tolbert, who's walked and struck out. Fastball strike. Burnett's pitch count at 75. Joe's bunt takes a strike, so here we are back at 0-2. Let's see what he does at 0-2. "76 pitches, 50 strikes." Way outside. Now, if you're 0-2 as a hitter, I mean, do you become a different hitter that they're afraid to go at you on 0-2?
You have to be. I mean, like I said, you have so much to cover. I mean, you don't look for a specific pitch. You're almost looking out over the whole plate, trying to just put the ball in play, especially with a guy in scoring position. You know, any way you can try to flare one to left, keep it up the middle, stay away from the strikeout, and give yourself a chance.
There's a ground ball to Pena, and he'll flip to Jeter, who just got the force on the speedy Denard Span. So A.J. Burnett works out of a mini jam. No runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. At the end of 4.5, we're halfway through. No score. Yeah. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning on the Lexus scoreboard. There's no score. The Yankees only hit an infield single by Derek Jeter. Hideki Matsui will lead off, the number 5 batter in the Yankee lineup. Outside, Yankees threatened in the 4th. Infield single by Jeter. Then he stole second, moved to third on a Johnny Damon sacrifice bunt back to the pitcher. But Teixeira struck out looking, and Alex Rodriguez fouled out to first. There's a strike.
Both guys going to have control of that comeback sinker over the inside corner. And from a left-handed hitter, I mean, you really can't tell on a television screen, but that ball is coming right in at your hip. You kind of freeze as it's a ball, and it breaks over, it comes late. There's not much you can do with it from the left side of the plate.
It's a pitch that Greg Maddux kind of perfected, and you know, Oral Hershiser was probably the first guy I saw do that, with Mike Scioscia catching with the Dodgers back in the 80s. Greg Maddux kind of took it from there to where you have the catcher set up inside, and like you said, Paulie, start the ball at the left-hander's hip and run it back on the inside corner and try to freeze guys and get called third strikes.
Count 2-2.
You got to have some movement on that pitch too, because you know, a true four-seam fastball, which back in the day everybody had a four-seam fastball. So many more people look for that movement now that you have to trust that that ball is going to come back. It straightens out over the middle of the plate. That's where you're going to get hurt.
And the pitch. Strike 3. And Matsui down looking. Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by J&R Music and Computer World. and by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicle of the New York Yankees.
I mean, both of these guys, we said it again. I mean, is that a harder pitch to control, the two-seam wides and that ball down and away to a lefty?
Yeah, it is, because you've got to hold on to the ball that much longer to get it to start at a lefty. From a right-handed pitcher, it's the opposite side. You've got to reach across your body. You've got to aim it at a left-hander's hip. It's just harder to hold on to the ball longer and control that pitch. It's easier to kind of lazy wrist it and run it away from a lefty. Speaking of a right-handed pitcher, that's an easier pitch to throw.
It's funny because you go through scouting reports and you'll go, what's this guy throw? He's a sinker slider guy. Well, from a sinker slider guy, you're always looking away because that's the way sinker balls pitch left-handed hitters. But now, again, this type of pitch, that's especially drive one into center.
Base hit for Nick. It was 1 for 20 before that single.
Welcome sight for somebody that's in a slump like that. And we talk about movement. This ball kind of flattens out. A chance to stay on it, but to Swisher's credit, he didn't roll over. He stayed with it, shoot it to left field.
So Swisher on first with one out. Here's Melky Cabrera.
It's funny, you listen to that last at bat with Swisher, and you're probably going to think, I'm thinking, man, that's a pretty sound. And Coney's probably in the back of his mind saying, man, I hate that sound. So depends on what side of the rubber you're on, I guess.
One of the best things you can have, Paulie, as a pitcher is amnesia. The quicker you can forget about a bad pitch and get on to the next one, that's why all the old-time scouts say that, the dumbest ball players are the best ones, don't think too much. Especially pitchers.
Charlie Manuel, when he was a hitting coach in Cleveland, I never forget the story. He's got that real Southern draw accent, and he said, you got to be dumb and stupid to be a good hitter and forget. And he said, boy, that Jim Thome can hit.
Grounded foul.
We kind of joke about it, but there's some kernel of truth in there. The quicker you can just put it behind you, process the bad pitch, get on to the next thing. Or for hitters, let that last at bat go. And easier said than done.
Spoiled that one.
Talking to Melky before the game a little bit during batting practice, and you get to see he's in a real comfortable zone right now. I feel like he's worked to get back to where he comes to the ballpark, knows he's in the lineup, he's getting the hits, he's being the type of hitter he's comfortable being, slapping the ball all over the place. And you can just see when he's on the field that he's comfortable right now.
Swing and miss. He goes down on the strikes. 2 away.
Tell you, if you wouldn't have given me this pregame scouting report, you see this ball absolutely run completely across the plate. I don't know if he took something off that ball, but got a little more movement than his usual sinker. According to your pregame scouting report, expected to be a pretty high-scoring game. Slowly, some good stuff today, good control.
Yeah, that was a nice little way. Took something off of that, turned it over a little more. You see Maurer set up away, nice pitch. A little bit on, a little bit off. It's definitely not overpowering. Upper 80s with his fastball. That was 81 miles an hour with a little run off on it to get the strikeout.
And pitch to Pena is a strike. Yankees have won 4 in a row, the final 2 of the Blue Jay series, first 2 here of the Twin series. They're looking to go 3 games over 500. Pena giving Robinson Cano a day off. Cano had played in every single game. That's why when you talk about people breaking Ripken's record, not going to happen. Managers won't allow it. They fight players to take days off, and most of the time the players don't resist.
You don't see this very often where you'll give a guy a day off, a left-hander against a right-handed pitcher.
Pena is the only Yankee batter today to have an at-bat more than 5 pitches. And that was a 6-pitch at-bat when he fouled out to third in the third.
We talked about the Central Division with Minnesota. You know, it's in Detroit. How about Detroit's game today, Paulie? Armando Galarraga got knocked out in the first inning with 5 runs. Detroit's come back. It's 8-6 now, top of the 4th.
Those are the games you like to be a hitter. You know you're going to get about 5 or 6 at bats. You're going to score a lot of runs.
A little different ball game there than we got going right now here.
Right.
I need you to explain something to me that happened yesterday, David. John Lackey comes out the DL. And the first pitch he throws behind Ian Kinsler. The second one gets Kinsler in the ribs because Kinsler hit 2 home runs a day before he gets thrown out of the game. Now, what purpose does that serve?
Wow, geez, there's got to be a history. There's got to be a hidden story there, either personally between Lackey and Kinsler. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, you got to stay in there for your team. You know, there's a way to send messages. There's a way to protect your hitters. Paulie, we went through that a lot during our days. You know, get thrown out of the game is not the way to do it early.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I didn't even see the pitch, but we'll talk about it next inning. How about that, Michael?
How about that? The Yankees get struck out. Now it's time for the M&M boys. Well, not the M&M boys from 48 years ago. The Twins M&M boys. They've hurt the Yankees so far. We'll see what happens in the 6th. Well, the Twins have their own version of the M&M boys, Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau. And Mauer and Morneau have homered in the same game 5 times already this season. And back-to-back games in this series, Friday and Saturday. So Mauer leads off against Burnett. Pitch outside, 1-0. No score as we go to the 6th.
a 0-0 game, Michael. You know, this situation right here, even though it's only the 6th inning, you know, when you point out the M&M boys right here leading off this inning, this might be a key point in this game for A.J. Burnett.
Grounded up the middle. Pena dives, stops, but no play. Boy, Pena's playing a really solid second base. He's a shortstop by trade, but he knocked down that ground ball, but Maurer reaches first with a single.
And the smart thing is that you don't come up with it. Don't go ahead and grab it and just, you know, launch it into the stands. You don't have a play. If you don't come up with that ball cleanly, I don't care who's running. When you're going away from the base, you're not going to come up. You knocked it down best you could. You didn't make the play, so you go on and try to get a double play here.
10-game hitting streak for Joe Maurer with that infield single. Pitch outside to Morneau. Morneau walked and singled.
You can see why Bauer is kind of a batting champion candidate, and Morneau is more of the home run candidate to lead the league in home runs. Bauer right back up the middle, even his home runs, just right back up the box all series long so far.
Cash wants to go out and talk with Burnett. Well, we told you about the Twins M&M boys. Back in the early 60s, the Yankees had the M&M boys as well, Mantle and Maris. 115 home runs combined in 1961 when Roger hit 61, and Mantle, because of an injury in September, was stopped at 54. But they electrified New York and the baseball world. And now the Twins have their own version. Morneau, a deep drive to left center, but Melky has room. And he makes the play for the first out.
You think back to that 1961, and anybody who lived through that generation, that generation of baseball, that's what they remember, that summer. And you know, I've talked to a lot of Yankee fans, and that's the neat thing about being part of this organization and being able to play here, is how many generations, how many people talk about the old days of being lifetime Yankee fans, but the people that had lived through that era and were baseball fans at that time, that was a special year.
How neat used to be the old timers days. I'm sure when Mantle and DiMaggio dressing in the same dressing room, every time you turn around, you bumped into a legend.
Right. And that's probably one of the most vivid memories I have of just coming over here, was that first thing. It's like a wake-up call when you see how much pride and tradition is caught in one organization when you come over from the National League like I did. It just, you don't have that feeling till you know, walk out on that grass.
And if my memory serves me correctly, I think the last time that Joe DiMaggio ever came out in uniform in an old timers, they dressed either in your locker or the locker next to yours.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The 1-1. There's a strike. Now you're the big deal on Old Timers Day, Paul. All the kids look up to you.
Makes you feel good, doesn't it, Coney?
I remember one time I was pitching on Old Timers Day, and I gave a 5 in the first, Paulie. I came in and tore up the clubhouse and chased them all out of there.
Kubel with a fly ball to left center. Melky's there. 2 away.
You can almost see A.J. Burnett just kind of exhale. You know, Maurer got the hit to lead off the inning up the middle, and then Morneau gets a good swing, just misses it, powers one to the gap in left center, and you get that out, and A.J. Burnett just kind of exhales and says, okay, those two guys are by me. Now let's go to work.
Here's Kadire. There's a strike. By the way, that 1961 team, Mantle and Maris combined for 115 home runs. The entire team had 240.
I like to pitch against that squad.
I'll tell you what, there'd be some deep counts, 3-2 counts. There'd be a lot of walks. There'd be pitching around everybody in that lineup.
Look back at all the lineups, the great teams that you pitched against. Can you remember one team that you just like, how am I going to get through? What was the best lineup looking back that you think you faced?
Well, I think in the 90s, both Cleveland and Baltimore had great lineups for us. We had some unbelievable battles, even with Baltimore. You remember Armando Benitez drilling Tino Martinez in the back? One of the worst bench clearing brawls I've ever been a part of. Boy, that thing just kept going and going. But that lineup, boy, you know, Roberto Alomar actually was both in Cleveland for a while and then went to Baltimore. And I think both of those lineups, those Cleveland and Baltimore lineups in the mid-90s, you know, guys like Eddie Murray was still playing well, Albert Bell.
Albert Bell was in both spots, too.
Yes.
And was almost here. Backed out of that deal at the last moment.
Well, all of a sudden in the American League, you had 8 and 9 hole hitters hitting 20 and 25 home runs.
Count 2-2.
Really good location. I mean, you can throw the ball in the mid-90s and throw it at that height, with that location, a little bit of movement on it.
You'll be successful.
92 pitches for Burnett, 58 strikes. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Swung on and missed. Cash tags Kadire, and that will do it. And that is the 6th strikeout for A.J. Burnett. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We go to the bottom of the 6th, and there's no score in the Bronx. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. There's no score. The Yankees have just 2 hits, an infield single by Jeter, a single by Swisher to center. The Twins 4 hits against Burnett. Kevin Cash leads off and tries to bunt. The bunt's foul. Joe Girardi hoping that he'll get Posada back sometime next week. This is a big day for the Yankees injury rise. Chin-Ming Wong is pitching for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, the Yankees AAA affiliate, and also Brian Bruni. And if they like what they see from Chin-Ming Wong, he's going to be a player for them sometime next week. Phil Hughes is going to make his next start no matter what, because he's starting the 2nd game of the Orioles series. And there's just not enough time for Wong to pitch today and then come back on Wednesday. And there's Phil. Now, if Wong comes back, there's a lot of options with Phil Hughes. Do you send him down and have him start in the minor leagues in case something happens again? Or do you put him in a bullpen that's been less than perfect so far this year?
Well, you know, the old school way was you learned how to pitch in the bullpen in the major league level, Paulie. I started out in the middle league. You see that? Good movement. Slow, as we said before, is a strike throwing machine today. Mauer's setting up away. You talk about location. I mean, just a bullet right at the knees, maybe right in the hollow of the kneecap on the outside corner. Good pitch.
You know, to use, you know, help me. You look at the way Jabba broke in and how much success he had. I mean, he was a starter, but he came up here and how much success he had getting to. You know, he made a name for himself getting to Mariano. Now he's back in the starting role because he's got 4 pitches. He can use them all. But, I mean, Coney, you kind of brought it to my attention, too. Hughes could be successful out there. I mean, he could go out there and fill a void that they have right now. And that way you don't – I think if you ask any player whether they'd rather go down to the minor leagues and continue to start or maybe take on a new role and come out of the bullpen, most guys would, or not all guys, would rather be in the major leagues than doing something else.
You know, that used to be the way. You'd start out in middle relief or in the bullpen as a young starter, and you'd learn how to pitch that way, and you'd have to earn your way to the rotation on the big league level. You know, we saw Phil Hughes dominate in the playoffs a couple of years back when he came in throwing 95, 96. You know, even though it was only a couple of appearances, but I think he's got demeanor, makeup, and control to be an excellent 7th or 8th inning guy if that's what they choose to do with him. You know, sometimes you send a guy back to AAA, you get deflated. Okay, I've already proved myself down there. What do I have to do in AAA? How many starts am I going to get on the big league level? You know, the Yankees have options with him. I'm certainly not saying you give up on him in the rotation, but the option of putting him in the bullpen could be an attractive one.
And I tell you what you do too when you have and here's a guy who's 22.
Ground ball or left side, backhanded by Punto, and they get Jeter for the second out.
You've got a guy that is that talented at that age, and you've brought him up and taken him down so many times. You almost get to that attitude as the player themselves start to, I want out of this organization. I can do it for somebody else, and of course he can, and he's going to do it for the New York Yankees. He's going to be that type of pitcher, but you don't want to get him rooting against and trying to get out.
Now, one return volley on that, though. I mean, Phil Hughes hasn't been lights out while he's up here. I mean, if they did send him down, he really doesn't have a kick coming. I mean, he was great the first start, and he was so-so in the second, too. And then the last start, he was all right. I mean, if he was lights out and they sent him down, then I guess he could have an attitude. But I don't think he's that type of kid anyway. Johnny Damon laces one into center field, the base hit. Time for another look at today's Toyota text poll. Once again, the question, what's been the Yankees' most dramatic regular season win against the Twins since David Wells' perfect game? You've been texting us at 58772, and this is how you voted. 43% thought it was Bernie Williams' walk-off division clincher, then Giambi's walk-off grand slam. 36% of you voted for that. Here's Teixeira.
You didn't even place a vote today, Mike.
No.
Said, right? Took the day off.
Hot shot, knocked down by Morneau. He'll step on the bag, and that will do it here in the 6th inning. So the Yankees pick up their 3rd hit, but still no runs in this game. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We go to the 7th in the Bronx, 0-0. It's break time. Time for a fresh brewed cup of coffee. Yes, we get our Green Mountain K-Cup coffee system from the same people who bring us our office supplies. WB Mason. Who but? Here's Brian Busher. And the pitch outside from Burnett. Want to know, Yankee bullpen a little short today, so they need some length out of Burnett. No Phil Koch, and in all likelihood, no Mariano Rivera after 2 innings yesterday.
Back something on we touched at the beginning of the game, Coney, how important it is to get Burnett a decision here, and all of a sudden, you know, you're pitching a great game. You got a shutout going into the 7th inning, and right now you're still lined up for a no decision. I mean, this is kind of a frustrating time for A.J. Burnett.
Yeah, both sides really. I mean, the Yankees, you know, you hate to waste a good pitching performance. You know, a guy throwing up goose eggs, and really Minnesota as well with Slowey, just excellent today with his control.
Count 3-1. Now this year, the Yankee offense has been more productive as the games get deeper. In the first through the 3rd innings, they hit 242. 4th through the 6th, 282. 7th through the 9th, 286. Busher with a high fly ball, right field. Swisher there. And there's one out. Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by your tri-state area Audi dealers. Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees. Here's Carlos Gomez, 30 bunt hits last year, 50 infield hits. And that one's up the middle, so he'll be off to the races. Gomez can run. Makes a big turn at first, and Melky gets the ball in. And that base hit snaps an 0 for 10 for Gomez.
I don't think those two guys at first are going to be chatting too much, Paulie.
Let's see if they have some words over there.
And that is right back up the box. Setting up away, runs back over the middle. That's what he's talking about. AJ's, you know, he's trying to hit the outside corner. When he goes that move with his hand, he knows the ball ran back to the middle. He didn't hit his spot.
Gomez told Teixeira a good game yesterday, 4 for 4.
How's the kids? How you doing?
It's funny how quick those things pass. The next day, both players kind of think, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal. Nobody got hurt.
Heat of the battle, right? Let it go.
Boy, I could never do that. I'm a grudge holder.
This is where if you're Teixeira, you know, Michael, if this is where you're Teixeira, you know, and you know Gomez is getting that leap to, you know, you get a throw from the pitcher over to first base and you slam your mitt down on his helmet with a hard tag.
It's on.
That's what you do if you were first baseman, huh, Michael?
Absolutely.
That's why Michael picked up a pen. He could just kill you with a pen. His whole life he could just use that pen.
Pen is mightier than the sword.
Things that come out of it are.
You say that half jokingly, David, but that would be a thing that a first baseman would do if you're still ticked off. Right on his head. Paul, you're not vindictive? You don't carry a grudge?
I don't think of myself as that. You know, there are times where I knew pitchers hit me on purpose and stuff like that, and you do carry a little chip on your shoulder to make a point to, you know, try to put a little bit more into your next at bat against him.
I don't even have to ask Cone. Cone's vindictive. There's no doubt.
Are all those names in the back of that list, are those the guys you've kept track of? Is that it?
2-0. There's a strike.
Well, you can see Gomez just itching to go, kind of leaning towards second base.
It's got to bug you as a pitcher. You know the guy can run, but you know he's, you know, half the time they're faking, and you know 0-0 game. You got to remember, you know, you can't walk people. You can't get so involved with the runner that you start losing your rhythm to the plate.
It's a great hit and run count right here.
Nice block by Cash. Strangely, as fast as Gomez is, he's attempted 6 stolen bases this year and even caught 3 times. It's an awful percentage. He is the main component in the package the Mets sent to the Twins for Johan Santana. When you look at what Santana's done for the Mets and you look at what the Twins got, you kind of scratch your head and go, wow. Now, they weren't going to keep Santana. They couldn't afford to. Runner goes. And the pitch was high, so Punto walks.
You know, part of that trade is kind of what Cody touched on yesterday was Laureano was supposed to become the next Santana, and then you went through the injuries and stuff like that. So that was kind of, you know, opening up for that trade, and that kind of fell by the wayside, too. I mean, not to say Laureano hadn't done well. He's done very well.
Hey, fans, celebrate the inaugural season of Yankee Stadium on Tuesday, May 19th, when the Yankees take on the O's. First 18,000 fans 21 and older are going to receive a Yankees Dunkin' Donuts card with a $2 value at Dunkin' Donuts. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. It just seems strange that there seem to be better offers out there for the Twins than the one that they took from the Mets. I know that they were asking the Yankees for Phil Hughes, Ian Kennedy, and Melky Cabrera, which is a much better offer than what they accepted from the Mets. A couple of other teams were kicking the tires as well, willing to offer more, but they ended up trading them out of the league. Runners go. Ron Gardenhire trying to start something, open up some holes on the infield. This man fouls it back.
You really have to rely on your talent evaluators at that point, Michael. You know, you go to your super scouts and you get a list to pick from. When you got a star like Johan Santana and he's on the block and you offer him out there, you know, you really rely on that list that you get and your talent evaluators to pick the prospects they want. You really have your pick of the litter in that situation, and you only have so much information to go on. Just a minor league track record.
It's a huge decision for some of the smaller organizations, too. I mean, the ones that you can't recover from if you make a bad good pitch.
Span has struck out 3 times now against Burnett.
I mean, this is just a wicked pitch. I mean, this ball is 95 miles an hour and late run, and you know Span just puts his head down. Watch him lock. That's what Paulie's talking about, locking up on that swing back pitch, and Burnett's had good movement, good life all day, and that's just unhittable right there, Paulie.
What's he doing with it?
Well, you want to get Matt Tolbert because on deck is Joe Mauer. Chasing Gomez back.
It was the inside move again that works all the time, Mike. Where's Al Leiter when you need him? What did he say? He's seen it work?
No, not that it worked. He says it works to do it because it keeps the runner closer. Yeah. He said every time that you lift your leg, he's going to think that there's an inside move. There's a strike. You buy that at all, David?
I've gotten a guy, maybe 1 or 2, with that move, you know, because I was really slow to home plate. I think I got Vince Coleman once with St. Louis because he was trying to steal third. Usually the guys that are, you know, that they're dying to steal third base, sometimes you can catch them. Very rarely. Maybe once in my career I got somebody.
The 0-1. That one is lofted into center field. It is a base hit. Gomez will score. The throw is up the line. Backing up is Burnett. It's a big base hit for Tolbert as the Twins take a 1-0 lead.
We'll get a look here. You know, Burnett trying to come in, Cash setting up in, and there's that swing back pitch, but this one runs to the middle. As you see, it's supposed to be over here on the inside corner, right in here. Ends up over here.
On the Coors Light freeze cam.
And Tolbert does a nice job, just dropping the head, not doing too much with it, Paulie, and got an RBI single there, and a 0-0 game is now unlocked.
It doesn't always take a home run to put you. I mean, hitting with men in scoring position is so much different than hitting without. I mean, you got to spray the ball around. Anything you can do to drive that ball up the middle, score that run.
The Twins had been 0 for their last 21 with runners in scoring position. So now it's 1-0. Yankee bullpen is busy. Burnett's at 109 pitches, and he has to deal with Joe Mauer, who's 1 for 3.
And it's the 4th straight start that AJ's been over 100 pitches.
right, still throwing hard.
I almost had trouble saying that, Paulie. I mean, like 100 pitches. Is that a lot, 100 pitches? I guess I'm a dinosaur. I don't know, but I certainly understand it, and that's why they signed AJ. As you see, Albaladeo backing up AJ Burnett right now.
The 0-1. Blocked by Cash.
You talk a lot about Posada and Molina both being out, but you know, since we've seen Cash and Cervelli, Coney, you can probably talk about it. Defensively, both of them have done a pretty good job blocking balls.
And that one gets past Cash as the runners move up. Boy, this becomes a very big hitter now.
The trouble here, this looks like it hits right on top of home plate. Just to the left, actually in front. It gets a wicked bounce. Cash is setting up down and away. The ball ends up down and in. He tries to adjust and backhand it. He doesn't have time to get his body in front of it and try to smother it. Well, those are the tough ones when you're expected. AJ Burnett's been all around the dish all day, and all of a sudden he wings one in there about 59 feet. Hard to adjust that quickly.
Count 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 on. Yankees down 1-0, top of the 7th. And Justin Morneau waits on deck, which makes it tough to pitch around Joe Mauer. Good spot to sit in that lineup in front of an MVP candidate. 2-2. And that one gets past Cash. Here comes a runner. Punto scores. And it's 2-0 Twins. Heads up base running by Nick Punto as Tolbert moves to third.
Tony, just when we talked about it, then you get a pass ball, you get him on third, and then the at-bat changes. You see that ball's supposed to be up, but it ended up down in the dirt. Cash can't realize where it is. See a good break, no hesitation from third base. He doesn't get his body over there. It's his mask, but he gets a bad hop. You know, if that ball ricochets out in front of you, you know, your play as a catcher's been done, but when it goes to the side.
Burnett thought that was strike 3. Instead, it was ball 4. So now first and third, still 2 outs. And Girardi and Island talking about the wisdom of going to Albaladeo now. Looks like they'll stay with Burnett to try to get Morneau. Albaladeo's ready.
Well, just because you got first and third doesn't mean you don't have a base open here, Paulie.
Yeah.
You get 2 outs. You know, second base is open.
Absolutely.
So certainly you've got that. I've got that in my mind. I mean, I'm not advocating walking the bases loaded, but you see the pitch count 116, which has really jumped up over the last inning, obviously. But you certainly do have that in the back of your mind on a 1-0 count here. You still have a base open.
Strike. Burnett's season high pitch count previously to this was 114. So he's at 117 right now.
Girardi would love to see him get out of this inning by himself.
Shattered bat. Down goes Jerry White. Quick feet.
See Teixeira getting out of the way of the barrel. White getting out of the way of the ball. Holding all the thing. A lot of runners carry things to help him slide. He's all loaded over there.
Get all the armor there, right?
1-2. Foul ball.
See Morneau shaking his head. He probably had a pitch he could have handled there. And, you know, he hit it hard, but as a hitter, when you hit it hard and you hook it foul, you know you've come around the ball a little bit. You didn't center it and keep it in play.
Tolbert's at third. Bauer's at first. And the 1-2. 2-2. Girardi's Yankees have won 4 in a row. Last 2 in dramatic fashion. Sky down the left field line, giving chase is Damon on the run. He runs out of room.
See Burnett miss out over the plate again there. And that, you know, they've really tried to pound Mauer inside, and also this at bat with Morneau. All that you see Cash move inside, and this ball ends up out over the middle of the plate. That's a dangerous pitch right there to a left-hander, especially a good left-hander.
He's run 121 pitches, and that matches his season high from last year with the Blue Jays. 2-2. Seems to be laboring just a bit now, and the count full at 3-2. That's going to release Mauer at first. Tolbert will stay put at third.
Pretty safe to say this is his last hitter either way.
Yeah, you know, he's kind of it's at that time through the order. Morneau's seen a lot of pitches. It's trouble for a pitcher. How are you going to get this guy out? What are you going to go to right here? You going to try that slider again? The one that you just left down the middle? You're going to try to bounce another one in the dirt?
This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Just missed. And Burnett can't believe it, staring in to Chad Fairchild. And Joe Girardi's seen enough with the bases loaded. He's going to call on Al Baladeo.
It was a real tough sequence. Down and away, ball 1. Paints the outside corner. Now we're even 1-1. Now you go to the slider, broken bat. Now you're up 1-2. Another slider. He's getting pretty good swings, a little out in front. 2-2 up and in. There's the pitch Paulie's talking about. It was a good one to hit. Up and away. 3-2. What are you going to do? Try to paint him in with a fastball, and that ball's up and in. And that's a late movement on him.
Well, as he was walking off, he looked at Chad Fairchild and asked him, was that too high? Oh, it was ball 4, and his day is done. Bullpen brought to you by AT&T, your world delivered. And Jason Kubel will dig in against Jonathan Albaladejo. A.J. Burnett threw 123 pitches. Let's look at the scouting report on Kubel.
Well, he's off to a fast start. I mean, he came into the game hitting .341. 5 home runs and 20 RBIs. I mean, he's a third man. I mean, you talk about the M&M guys. You're going to need some other guys in the lineup. And between Kubel and Michael Kadire, those are the guys you need. And a big opportunity. I mean, you're going to have a lot of opportunities. You see right here, bases loaded, because you pitch around some of those big name hitters. You're going to have a lot of opportunities to have a big year.
Kubel's 1 for 3. This is a big at bat in this game. The 1-0. Right in on the hands, 1-1. Those are the numbers on Albaladejo. This is his 17th game, a hit per inning, 9 strikeouts and 8 walks, an ERA of 5. Burnett has given up 2 runs. The runner's on base, his responsibility. He can't win the game, he can only lose it. One and 2.
You can kind of see this guy Kubel coming on over the last couple of years. You know, Paul, you mentioned, you know, he's off to a hot start this year. He had 20 home runs last year. He's a career .275 hitter. Starting to figure things out. Broke in 04.
One, 2. 2 and 2. Runner at third is Matt Tolbert. Joe Mauer's at second. Justin Morneau is at first.
You see Kubel with a good take there. I mean, this is where the pitcher uses your aggressiveness as a hitter in these situations, trying to make you swing at a ball in the dirt. He held off. He's probably going to see a pretty good pitch to hit.
The 2-2 pitch. Strike 3. Albaladejo comes on and records a big strikeout of Kubel to minimize the damage. But finally, A.J. Burnett actually bends just a little bit. He gives up 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and the bases are left loaded. At the end of 6.5, time for the 7th inning stretch. Twins lead the Yankees 2-0, but we'll stay right here to honor America. Live indeed. Thank you, Bob. Bottom of the 7th inning. The Twins are leading 2-0. And Kevin Slowey has been absolutely outstanding so far. The Yankees have had just one runner in scoring position, and they could not cash in the 4th inning. They had a runner at third base with 1 out. Teixeira struck out looking. Rodriguez popped to first. Here's Alex now leading off the 7th inning against Slowey. So Slowey has a 2-0 lead. Popped up off the end of the bat, and out of play. It'll be A-Rod, Matsui, and Swisher here in the 7th. Slowey deals. That one's driven deep to left. There it goes. See ya! A home run. Alex Rodriguez. Yankees on the board. It's 2-1 Twins.
We saw it yesterday in the bottom of the 11th. Another slider out over the middle of the plate here. Alex Rodriguez hit the no-doubt line drive. Fouled off a first pitch fastball. Got a slider. Slowly missed with it. Comes up out in the bleachers.
So the Yankees have cut the lead in half. It's 2-1. Here's Matsui. And there's a strike. Call for Alex, home run number 556. Next up, Mr. October at 563. Palmeiro at 569. Killebrew at 573. And the 0-1. 1-1. Alex's 3rd home run of this season. First swing. Last swing yesterday. And now an 0-1 pitch here in the 7th. Line drive, base hit, down the right field line. Kadire cuts over. He's going to play it off the wall as Matsui chugs into second with a double.
Well, it's like a hockey game, Paulie. You know, 0-0. The other team scores a couple goals. Now here the Yankees come, and that's a fastball. As you see the movement on Mauer's glove. Supposed to be away. Reaches way over to the inner half of the plate. Matsui just turns on it. Get a bullet right off the wall. You see Morneau gives a little effort. Really had no chance.
See, Slowey's been pretty just dominant all game with control-wise in this inning. You saw he missed with the slider to Alex Rodriguez. Now he gives Matsui a pitch up out over the plate. All of a sudden you get that lead, Coney. What happens to the pitchers when you get that lead?
It changes. It really does. I mean, all of a sudden, you know, your pitch count's good. As you see, 78 pitches. Nobody really working behind him in the bullpen as of yet. But, you know, you're thinking, man, I got a chance to complete this game, right? You're going to put a goose egg on the board right after your team gives you 2 runs. Now, A-Rod takes you deep. You got nobody out, and Matsui on second.
And here's Swisher. And he bunts. It's a beauty. Slowey fields. And the sacrifice successful. 1-3, moving Matsui to third. Wonder if that was called from the bench or he did it on his own.
Well, that's a true sacrifice there. He wasn't trying to drag, bunt, or anything. He made sure he got it down. Bunted to the third base side. Matsui can kind of walk to third base.
Now the Twins bring the infield in. There's Melky Cabrera. Ended Friday's game in walk-off fashion. Bases loaded, dunked a 2-run single into the outfield. Pitch is high from Slowey.
I would think Melky Cabrera in this situation, Coney, if you're pitching a tough guy to keep the ball in the, you know, he's not a strikeout guy. He's going to put the ball in play. This is a tough out for Slowey. Try to save that run.
Four of the Yankees' last 5 wins have come from behind victories, and the Yankees have 13 comeback wins this year. Wow. 2-0. Joe Girardi's moving to a different end of the dugout, maybe trying to change luck, maybe trying to get a different view. Infield is in more on the left side. Tolbert's backed up almost halfway on the right side. Matsui does not have great speed at third. The 2-0. Popped up. Spans there. Tagging is Matsui. Here's the throw. And it's wide. It's a sac fly off the bat of Cabrera. The game is tied at 2.
That's a tough play right there. Matsui, a good throw. That's going to be a bang-bang throw. See, until right out of his hands, he kind of launched that one. It was going to sail on him. Span stays behind the ball. Everything looks good. All of a sudden, that front shoulder flies, and that ball just tails to the first base side. No chance of getting Matsui at the plate.
Well, another good read by Rob Thompson, the third base coach, who's had a good series so far. Good scouting report on Span. Going to test the young outfielder, and his arm strength's been somewhat questionable. Robbie Thompson made a great call with Brett Gardner the other night on the inside the park home run. Another good one right there.
Here's Ramiro Pena. Popped up. Left side. Busher. Also Punto. And he makes the play. What a play by Nick Punto. Sliding and grabbing the foul pop-up for the final out of the bottom of the 7th inning. Take a look at this. What body control, hand-eye coordination. But the Yankees tie the score with the A-Rod home run, then some little ball. It's 2-2 as we go to the 8th. We go to the 8th inning. Jonathan Albaladeo deals inside to Michael Kadire. So each team puts up a deuce in the 7th. And that's where we are at 2-2. And a strike.
You know, I think this is truly going to be a close play. And you see what happened. And just like a pitcher, Coney, I mean, you've got to keep that front shoulder closed. It usually ends up at your target. As soon as that front shoulder flies open, that ball kind of tails away to first base. Good throw was going to be a bang-bang play. Matsui not throwing real well. And you'll see this front shoulder, instead of going to home plate right there, kind of just opens up arm kind of drops behind and see where the ball ends up. Sometimes as an outfielder, you get so anxious to get rid of that ball, you kind of lose your mechanics and everything flies open. And in Coney, you know, just like the mound, when everything flies open, your control is absolutely gone.
It almost looked like he was concentrating on trying to get the ball there in the air instead of just going right over the cutoff man, one hopping it to home plate, tried to launch it all the way in the air, and he launched it.
Outside. And Kadire walks.
Sometimes when the catcher receives the ball, you know, a little unorthodox, that the umpire thinks it's not a strike, and that looks like the case right there.
Hey, fans, today and throughout the Yankee season on Yes, we're allowing you to vote along with the three of us here in the booth for the Chevy Player of the Game. Text your vote to 58772. Today's candidates are number 1, A.J. Burnett, number 2, Kevin Slowey, number 3, Matt Tolbert, number 4, Alex Rodriguez. Vote now. Make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates apply.
Might need another, too, Michael, on that one.
Yeah, I think
we haven't seen the player yet, you think?
Need an other, like that old girlfriend used to have. What was her name, Other? Or
Susie Other.
Susie Other?
Yeah. Dave Island goes out and talks with Al Valadeo.
All right, Coney, now tell me the truth. You're A.J. Burnett. You go out, you're throwing a great game. You're looking at a no decision. All of a sudden, they throw up a 2 spot, so you take the bench thinking, I threw the ball great. Now I'm either going to lose or get nothing. But then they tie it up at the bottom, and so you're off the hook. So what are you feeling right now?
Well, you know, you're feeling relief. You feel like your team picked you up. You know, and I sort of was joking earlier. I said it's like a hockey game. You see that a lot in hockey games. You know, scoreless game. One team scores a goal, and the next 15 seconds, the other team will score a quick goal. And then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, both pitchers are dealing. Now it's 2-2 in a hurry. You're feeling pretty good, Paul. You spit the hook. Your team picked you up.
Runner goes. There's a strike. Kevin Cash double clutched, and the stolen base by Michael Kadire.
And here's a guy where Gardenhire just got on the move, kind of guessed on a good pitch. See Cash double pump. If you come out of there and kind of lose the ball, your chances of throwing out the base stealer are over.
You know, I think in this situation, Paulie, the guy, you know, A.J. Burnett never had a lead. You know, he's pitching 0-0.
Right.
Slowey got a 2 spot.
Right.
And I think he probably feels, you know, even though they both have the same line, he probably feels a little more disappointed that, you know what, I had 2 runs to work with. I went out there and I gave it right back.
Yep.
Now, with that being said, both pitchers were excellent.
Right.
Slowey was very impressive. It's a good game, but you're right. It's the same line, and one guy's more disappointed than the other. One guy spit the hook. One guy had the lead.
Go ahead run at second base. The 2-1. Grounded up the middle. Now Al Valadeo is going to throw to second and get Kadire. Good play by Al Valadeo. And you can't say bad base running by Kadire because he thinks that ball's going to go through. He's kind of caught in no man's land.
Yeah, I mean, your job coming off a second is get as far away as you can, get a jump. All of a sudden you freeze. But there was no hesitation there.
Yeah, my whole theory with Al Valadeo here is get rid of it right now. I don't like to see pitchers start to run.
Right.
You know, he does get it just in time.
The only mistake Kadire did was he crossed over and made that one step to third base. That's what cost him. You know, if you'd have just froze and stayed square to the pitcher, chances are you're going to get back. As soon as you cross over, get going towards third base, the pitcher knows he's got you.
There's a strike to Gomez, and it is so tough because you want to get the good jump to score.
Right there. See, as soon as he crossed over, he didn't. Now he's back to the square position, but now he's too far off the bag.
And the 0-1. Bunted straight up in the air. Cash didn't see it. It's too far behind him anyway. So far, it's been a little bit of a hectic weekend for Ron Gardenhire and his team. And there seems to be a light rain falling now at the stadium.
Well, this is a huge game for Minnesota. That's why it's deflating. You got that 2-run lead, and now you're back in a tie game with the Yankees. You've lost the first 2 games. You got a wraparound series in a Monday night game. You're in danger of losing 3 in a row right here. It's a huge game for Minnesota from this series perspective.
You know, they're a team that expects to, you know, contend in their division too. You've got to prove to yourself that you can come into New York and win a game. I mean, chances are down the road you're going to have to come either to New York or Boston. You got to choose. You know, you're going to have to prove that you can beat these teams.
Line drive to left field, a base hit for Gomez. As Busher will move to second. Let's take a look at the play of the game, brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And this happened at the end of the 7th inning. Ramiro Pena, and then Nick Punto slides in and makes the Geico play of the game.
It looked like he was at a water slide at the water park there. He slid about 20 feet.
And here is Nick Punto. Pitch outside.
The kind of guys that kind of scare you. You look up at the board, he's hitting 196. Defensively, he's doing the job, but all of a sudden you're like, God, this is a big at bat. They're so due to get that big hit.
Foul bat. Pitch is high, 2-1. We mentioned the Yankee bullpen a little short tonight, or this afternoon. No Coke, and in all likelihood, no Rivera. Rivera threw 2 innings yesterday. And he's out there, and Joe Girardi didn't completely tip his hand. He said, well, I'm going to have to ask Mariano, but I don't think he could go. He looks like he's ready to pitch, though.
Mariano's at this point in his career, he could just start warming up and force his way into the game. Probably if the Yankees get a lead, he'd just start throwing, send a message down to the dugout. And say,
I say you get that reverse phone call from the bullpen
yeah.
to the dugout. Skip, I got a couple outs in me.
Saw Kobe Bryant do that with Phil Jackson the other night. Hey, let's go. Get me back in the game.
Big basketball games on tonight. 2 game 7s, Michael.
2 game 7s. Lakers, Rockets, and Celtics and the Magics. Lakers just tipped off, but you stay right here. This is too good a game. The 3-1. Wow. No, it is ball 4. I thought he had a late strike call there. So ball 4, and now Albodeo's working himself into a bases loaded jam.
See Cash setting up away. He's got to reach the glove. That ball's up and out over the plate. You can see that ball's off the plate. Punto eyeballs it. He's got to walk.
Well, Joe Girardi is going to go to the bullpen. And he's going to call on Brett Tomko. So Tomko comes on. Tough situation. Bases loaded, 1 man out. Tomko against Span when we return. Emmy Award-winning WB Mason postgame. That Emmy Award winner, Bob Lorenz, is back in the studio to bring you all the highlights from this game against the Twins and a look around the majors. Plus, Kimberly Jones has the final say from the field and the clubhouse. It's the WB Mason postgame. It's right here on Yes. Brett Tomko, in his third game, he'll face Denard Span, 0 for 3 with a walk. Yankees have the infield in. They do not have it at double play depth because Span is very quick. It's hard to turn to. Pitch outside. This doesn't look good right now at 2-0 with the bases loaded. Brian Busher is at third. Carlos Gomez is at second. And Nick Punto is over at first. It's a 2-2 game, top of the 8th inning. And a mock cheer from the crowd.
You know, Tomko's a veteran guy. You expect him to be able to handle this situation. Certainly tough for any pitcher. Bases loaded coming out of the bullpen. You have to be aggressive, especially with a guy like Span here. You just got to go after him and take your chances.
And another strike.
Like Span made up his mind at 2-0. He was going to take a couple pitches, not just one. That borderline pitch, he got the call. Back to 2-2. I don't know, Coney. Can you come out of the bullpen? You've thrown nothing but fastballs. Can you trust yourself to throw a breakable or a changeup in this situation?
Well, that's the thing with the infield in. You almost want to stay down and hard stuff. You don't want to be able to lift over the infield.
Went to the breaking ball there, so he's got confidence in there.
Good one too.
This is kind of what we've seen from Span the whole series. With 2 strikes, he kind of just fouls a bunch of balls off. Oh, ended up in a good position for a pitcher, down and in off the plate.
Grounded, stopped there by Teixeira. He comes home and he gets the out. What a play by Teixeira. Remember, he's in. The reaction time is cut down dramatically, and he makes a diving stab.
This ball was hit pretty hard too, Michael, and you said it too. I mean, you're so used to playing at regular depth that you don't have much time to react to that. Laid out, knocked it down, gets on his knees, doesn't have time to get up to his feet. Throws a strike to home plate.
Well, I don't know what was better, the stop or the throw. Look at this throw. Right on the money, too. I mean, just on both ends. You see Tomko's gotta love that. A great stop. I think I was more impressed with the throw, Paulie. I mean, like you said, looked like Jose Molina trying to throw from his knees.
You've seen it before. Guys make great plays and then they lose their balance and like launch one to the backstop.
Pitch to Tolbert is way high, and the count 1-0. So now the infield, of course, could back up. The count 2-0 again.
You know, it's funny, if you're on the Yankees now, you feel like if you battle out of this inning and they don't score, you feel like you almost deserve to win this game. But again, this is the big outs you can't let down. After getting a great play from your first baseman as a pitcher, you got to feel like you're due to get an out by yourself.
Popped up. Cash looks for the ball. Circles. Makes the play. Tomko comes on and does a great job. Bases loaded, 1 out. He gets the ground ball and a pop up to Kevin Cash. Big play by Teixeira. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning, 2-2. A sweaty situation in the top of the 8th inning. Bases loaded, 1 man out. Twins don't score. It's 2-2. And a nice weapon to come off the bench. Robinson Cano, his first day off this year. Well, it's not a day off because now he's going to pinch hit for Kevin Cash. And Slowey deals low. 1-0. Brett Tomko really did the job. In his career as a pinch hitter, Cano 5 for 10 with 2 home runs. Yeah, you mentioned basketball, Paul. I got a little bit of trivia for you.
Is that right?
Brett Tomko grew up in Cleveland. His dad, in a contest, is the guy who named the Cleveland Cavaliers. He sent in that proposal, and they said, this is the one. Looped into left field. That is going to be caught by Span. As Paul ponders that, we send it to the Yes Network studios and Bob Lorenz. Bob? Thank you, Bob. Here in the Bronx, it's 2-2, bottom of the 8th inning with 1 out. And back to the top of the lineup and Derek Jeter. You're still stunned by the Cavalier
Trying to figure out,
revelation.
where'd you hear this? Is this something somebody told you? I guarantee you just coming off the top of your head.
Well, I didn't make it up. I read it somewhere.
I'm trying to get the the connection between Cleveland, Ohio, and the Cavalier too.
You'd have to ask Brett. Also, of all the things in the world I could make up, why would I come up with that?
Because he just got out of a big jam, man.
But the Cavaliers,
bases loaded, 1 out.
Paulie, I don't know if we know what a Cavalier is.
I know what the symbol looks like.
87 pitches for Slowey. What a great strike to ball ratio. 61-26. Not 61-27. 1-1 count.
Well, we got that update from Bob Lorenz, and you see the bullpen going double barrel. A lefty and a righty. Down in Tampa Bay, there's another shortstop, Jason Bartlett, part of the Minnesota organization at 1 point. 3 for 3. His average is up to 373, Paulie.
1-1.
Tell you what, if you're Madden down there, the manager of the Devil Rays, you got to be kind of scratching your head because you got Bartlett having a great year. Longoria is having a career year. Pena leading the league in home runs, but your team below 500. So, hey, look at Mo. He made that call. He said, I'm going to pitch.
Here's Kobe Bryant warming up right there. But anyway, Tampa's up 7-5 in the 6th inning down in Tampa. And Jason Bartlett 3 for 3.
Fights it off and bloops it into center field. He's going to dunk in for a base hit.
Again, sometimes your best swings end up with outs, and sometimes your unorthodox swings end up with base hits. Right there, Derek Jeter kind of gets inside and out on a ball way in on his hands. Couldn't have thrown it in a better place. Late in the game, tied game. Now as an outfielder, you're playing no doubles, meaning you don't want anything hit over your head. So those bloopers have a better chance of dropping late in the game.
Pitch to Johnny Damon as a strike. I'll tell you what, though, Paul. You look at their outfielders; they're almost too deep. I mean, they're guarding against the ball that's going to be over the wall.
That's right.
Classic no doubles situation with Derek Jeter on first. Don't want Jeter to score on a double over somebody's head right here.
That one is looped down the left field line, and that defense burned them. He's just too deep. Dunks in for a base hit.
And that's back-to-back. And again, you go to the no doubles, but you also got to realize Johnny Damon has power when he pulls the ball. But as a left fielder, Johnny Damon seldom is going to drive the ball over your head in left field. So, I mean, this is his stroke away. You see just kind of flipping it the other way. We talked about how deep they were playing. Now they put themselves in a position where a single can beat them.
Now, I understand what you guys are saying about the no doubles, but I mean, can't they play more shallow and still guard against a double over their head? It seems like they're guarding against a home run.
You know, a lot of times you just go by what you're supposed to do, right. And you're right, and you kind of take the common sense out of it. There comes a point of time where you're almost guarding against a home run, like you said, Michael, because they're so deep. And I think as an outfielder, you have to know if you come in better or you go back on balls better. That's important. You've got young outfielders out there right now that they're going to get comfortable out there, and you're just going to play yourself instead of always looking into the coaches where they want you to play.
Hey, visit the official online shop of the New York Yankees at Yankees.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and T-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the Yankees.com shop. Now here's Mark Teixeira. He had such a big day yesterday. He's 0 for 3 today with 2 strikeouts. 4 for 4 with a walk yesterday. Jeter's at second. Damon is at first. 2-2 game, bottom of the 8th. High fly ball, right field. Kadire. 1 foot on the track, makes the catch. Tagging is Jeter. He'll go to third. And with A-Rod coming up, it's time now to look at the Land Rover drive of the game, and that also involves Alex Rodriguez.
A-Rod gets another slider out over the plate. And it's funny, most guys kind of look at it and see if they got it. A-Rod knows immediately when he gets it. Line drive, Yankees' first run of the game, got him back in the game at the time.
And now he has an opportunity to give them the lead. First and third with 2 outs. Jeter's at third. Damon is at first. 2 men out, 2-2 game.
I think McDonald's was thinking about that, bring him home for this situation in the game.
Just looking at those french fries.
Michael's zoomed in on this side. I'm looking at, bring him home, win the game. Michael's licking his chops over here for a french fry. Look at that, Michael. You see that?
Oh, A-Rod's looking for a cookie right now. He's looking for dessert.
And the 1-0. Inside, 2-0. On deck is Matsui.
We talked about the value of going deep into the game. It's Kevin Slowey, 95th pitch coming up, or 96, and still in good shape. But you had 1 lead, he gave it away. He's still in this game, still got a shot. He spotted 2 runs, and it was a deflating thing to give it up. But you still got a chance. You're still in this game. He's pitched extremely well overall.
The 2-0. Foul back.
It's a tough time for A-Rod to hit because he's just back in the lineup. He hit a home run today. He hit a home run. But right now, you see this pitch right down the middle. That's a home run swing. He's trying to get 3 runs there instead of 1. You win this game with just a base hit. It's so hard, even as great a player as A-Rod is, to hold your emotions back and just take what the pitcher's going to give you.
See, Slowey not quite sure. He and Maurer have been good all day in terms of the rhythm and their signal calling together. They've got 2 different ways they want to go here. Slowey wants to do something and Maurer wants to do another thing. The question here is on 2-1 pitch. You got burned with a breaking ball last time. Do you go back to the breaking ball on 2-1, or maybe you try to go in with that sinker and tie him up?
He had a good hack at that first fastball, but again, that didn't have much movement. It was a good pitch to hit.
That hit him. So A-Rod will take first. Just clipped him on the way by. And that's going to do it. They're going to bring in Maharis, the left-hander, to face Matsui with the bases loaded. So A-Rod gets clipped on the 2-1 pitch. And Slowey's day is over. He pitched very, very well. But the Yankees have 3 runners on, a chance to break the tie. It'll be lefty against lefty when Maharis comes in. Stay where you are. Why would you go anywhere else? Giambi goes yard. His welcome to the Yankees moment. His seminal moment. Raining against the Twins. Now, we can't provide the same sort of rain and drama, but there is a drizzle here in New York. This date in Yankees history, a lot of big things. Rivera's first save in '96. Wells' perfect game, we've addressed that 11 years ago. And 7 years ago, Giambi's grand slam in the rain. Here's Mijares against Matsui. Check swing, pitch was upstairs, 1-0. And David Wells looks on, now a broadcaster with TBS, sitting alongside Ronnie Darling. A couple of Coney teammates there.
Good ones, too.
And the 1-0. 2-0. These are the numbers on Mijares. This is his 11th game. 11 strikeouts in 10 2/3, 8 hits and 3 walks. Friday against the Yankees, he pitched 1 1/3, gave up 1 hit, 1 walk. He threw 23 pitches, did not allow a run. Kevin Slowey just watches. Those runners are his responsibility, and if any of them score, he might take the loss if the Twins don't come back. He would take the loss. Now it's 3-0.
When you're a hitter, Coney, you almost just have to take your time, let that pitcher just stew out there, realize what position he's in. Don't get back in the box, take your time. The longer it takes him to get into a rhythm, the less chance he has of getting back into throwing strikes.
Bases loaded. 2 outs. Bottom of the 8th. 2-2 game. The 3-0. Right down the middle, 3-1. Can Matsui bring him home, or just one?
That's where you step out of the box, Coney. You through your mind as a hitter, you're going through all the situations. Should I take another pitch? Should I go after this pitch? And you have to be 100% set in what you're going to do before you step into that box.
Jeter third. Damon at second. A-Rod is at first. 3-1. 3-2.
Matsui decided to go after it, and he probably hit a borderline strike low. You'd have to take ball 4 there, Coney. Take my chances.
That's exactly what you were saying. You better be sure about your approach in that count, in that situation. Mijares coming into this game, lefties were 2 for 15 off of him for a 133 average. See if he's got the guts on 3-2 to break off a slider and try to get this guy, get Matsui.
Well, it doesn't get more dramatic than this. Bottom of the 8th, 2-2, bases loaded, and a 3-2 count with 2 outs. Runners will go. A lot of movement. Slowly a very invested spectator. And Mijares leans in, gets the sign, and deals. He swings and misses as Matsui strikes out with the bases loaded, and Mijares is pumped. Down 3-0 in the count. Fastball right down the middle. He swung at ball 4, and this one he swings at strike 3. Yankees lead the bases loaded. We go to the 9th. Well, they bring in Mariano Rivera in a tie game as we go to the ninth. 13 years ago today, Mariano nailed down his first save ever over the California Angels. And look how young Mo looks. Got a double play to get out of trouble. A big smile. A lot thinner face. And Mo nails down the first of many.
Had a full head of moss, too, back then.
Looked like he was about 12, didn't he?
And that's what he's done in his career. 2.30 ERA. Here's Joe Mauer, who will have to deal with the M&M boys. Mo against Mauer and Morneau. There's a strike. So both the Yankees and the Twins left the bases loaded in the 8th inning. Both the Yankees and the Twins scored 2 in the 7th inning. Now we go to the 9th. Right in on the fist of Mauer, and it's fouled away. Mariano threw 2 innings yesterday, and he threw 29 pitches over those 2 innings. There was some doubt whether or not he would be able to go today, but Girardi said he would talk to Mo. Maybe he could talk him into it, and he did. And the 0-2. Nice piece of hitting by Mauer as he dunks it into left field for a base hit. Second hit for Mauer.
Saw those first 2 pitches, a backdoor cutter, then a nasty cutter, and you'll see this pitch got a lot of the plate, and you don't see that off Mo very often. See Mauer kind of reaching for the ball, but that ball didn't have that cut that the pitch before did.
Mauer just covered that pitch, though. You know, and we've talked over and over again about Mauer and Morneau and the differences, and Morneau with the power stroke. You know, Mauer's got great play coverage. You see why they talk about him as a batting champion. Certainly very unusual for a catcher.
Not a lot of cheap hits catchers get. You know, they're so beat up and don't run as well by the end of the year. Don't get any infield hits.
Line drive, foul ball.
And that's the only way you can hit that good cut fastball off Mo. I mean, you've got to pull it foul, because if you watch the replay of that ball ends up, look, that ball's 6 inches inside, and unless you want to break your bat or break your hand, one of the two, you got to pull your hands in. No way to keep it fair.
Again, he does the same thing, and Jerry White is feeling like a piñata out there. On your toes, Jerry.
Well, Morneau just will not give an inch. You can see this pitch is maybe 6 inches from hitting him in the back leg. And he will not give an inch. He's going to get you out of there. You're not getting in my kitchen. And Mo's got a choice to either go away or follow him in.
Strike 3. He went away. And Morneau goes away with a strikeout. And has a couple of words for Chad Fairchild.
Well, Paulie, you called it. I mean, Morneau is tough. And you can see first pitch strike away. Now we're going in. And that ball is about a half a foot off the plate. So's that one. And he just will not give an inch. Let's go back away. Hate on the outside corner. We'll get the look overhead. Certainly a borderline pitch. If I'm out there, I want it. I can see why Morneau's sort of upset with that call.
See, a new catcher is Francisco Cervelli. And there's a strike to Kubel. And the new second baseman is Robinson Cano.
Tell you what, back to that Morneau at bat. When you're covering that ball 6 inches inside off the plate, you can swear that ball's away when they call strike 3, just because you're giving so much.
Kubel today is 1 for 4, extending his hitting streak to 6 straight. Crowd wanted that one. Crowd today, 44,804, and they all played umpire on this one.
Cervelli giving a good look. He's definitely calling that one low. It's on the plate, just a tad down.
2-1. High pop-up, left field. Damon. And there are 2 outs as Mauer heads back to first. Remember, everybody, after the final out, it's the WB Mason postgame. Bob Lorenz will be back in the studio to bring you all the highlights from this game against the Twins and a look around the major leagues. Plus, Kimberly Jones has the final say from the field and the clubhouse. It's the WB Mason postgame right here on Yes. And here's Michael Kadire. Kadire is 0 for 3 with a walk and a stolen base. Just missed with the cutter outside. Robbie Thompson just moved Nick Swisher more toward right center for Kadire. Kadire hitless in 4 at-bats lifetime against Mo.
You know, you look through the course of a game at some little things and you think, it's not that big of a deal. But all of a sudden in a 2-2 game in the top of the 9th, you know, you look at Kadire's base running error off second. You look at Span's throw from left field. You look at 2 opportunities by both teams early in the game, leaving a guy on third base with less than 2 outs.
Popped
cost
up.
you a game.
Shallow right. Coming in is Swisher. And he'll make the play for the final out of the top of the 9th inning. No runs ahead, no errors, and 1 man left. Well, if the Yankees are going to win this game today, it's going to be another walk-off win. It could be 3 in a row. You ready, Paul?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Wednesday night on Yes, the legendary Paul Simon sits down for an all-new center stage, hosted by who else but Michael Kay. The singer-songwriter looks back on his career, including his early days growing up in New York and meeting Joe DiMaggio. Center Stage, Paul Simon premieres Wednesday night at 11, only on Yes.
Great shot from above of the new house. You see the old house just there slightly to the upper left-hand corner. 2-2 game, bottom of the 9th inning. Nick Swisher will lead it off. Swisher, Cabrera, and Francisco Cervelli against Jose Mijares. Pitch is low.
Tony, you weren't here last series, but Paul Simon actually came up to the booth. He and Michael were tight. Pretty impressive.
Right.
That's right.
Right. He might hang.
I just don't see that matchup. I don't know. There's something.
Unlikely pairs sometimes work out.
Well, Paul Simon's been great baseball fan. Been great for the Yankees over the years. I pitched the day he sang in center field, the day Joe DiMaggio died.
I told him that day in the booth, that's one of the 10 memories I had of old Yankee Stadium, is listening to him by himself out with an acoustic guitar in center field. What an awesome day that was.
Yankees looking to win their 5th straight game. We're in the bottom of the 9th. And Swisher's worked the count to 2-1. Swisher 1 for 2 today with a sac bunt. The sac bunt was big because it moved the runner to the third base. That was Matsui, and then Matsui scored on Cabrera's sac fly. So they had the home run by A-Rod and then a little ball. Scored the second run. That's where we are right now at 2-2. And the pitch. 3-1. And Melky Cabrera is on deck.
Well, the Yankees got a good situation right here with a couple of switch hitters leading off this inning, and Swisher, obviously a high on base percentage guy, gets a lot of walks. Perfect leadoff guy for this situation.
The pitch. Might have swung the ball 4 there. It was right in on the hands. And now the count is full at 3-2. It's always full, it seems, with Nick Swisher at the plate.
He's got one thing in mind here. He's trying to launch that out of here and end this thing quickly.
And that was a strike. Just on the inside part of the plate. Two, and Swisher walks, so the winning run is on base. And that'll bring up Melky Cabrera. Some dramatics on Friday thanks to Melky. Bases loaded, and he dunks one into left center field. That's a base hit, 2-run score, and the Yankees win the game, setting off Bedlam in the Bronx. Now yesterday, Alex Rodriguez goes yard. A 2-run home run in the 11th as the Yankees win that one 6-4, and more Bedlam at home plate. And there's a pinch runner at first base, and they hope that Brett Gardner is going to set up more emotion if he crosses home plate. Let's see if Gardner runs with Cabrera at the plate. They're expecting a bunt at third. Busher's in. That's a push bunt. It's a beauty. They will make the play at first. The sacrifice successful, 3-4. As Gardner moves to second.
Again, you can't tell. This is kind of a push bunt. I don't know if this is a sacrifice bunt, but Melky does a good job. Does a good job until he gets down by first base. He loses a step.
Outstanding, really, idea. You might want to give Gardner a chance to steal there, but you know what? It's a game-winning situation. Melky not only bunts to the right side, he would have beat the pitcher to the bag, but outstanding play by Minnesota's defense. Second baseman gets over to cover the bag, or else Melky would have beat the pitcher to the bag.
3 sack bunts today for the Yankees. Joe Girardi's wanted to institute that more into the game plan, play a little ball, move runners along, and that's what they've done with 3 sack bunts. Rick Anderson goes out and has a talk with Mijares. Francisco Cervelli will be at the plate. Now, the last time the Yankees had 3 consecutive walk-off wins, you have to go all the way back to August 27th, 28th, and 29th of 1972.
You know, with Cervelli at the plate, Coney, you almost get the idea that Melky was trying to bunt for a hit there. You know, if he gets a base hit, then Cervelli can bunt to both guys over.
Pitches inside to Cervelli. Cervelli's been better offensively than the Yankees were expecting. 286. He was in Double-A. He was hitting in the 100s. But he's done a nice job behind the plate and gotten some pretty big hits. Handled the bat well. Ground ball up the middle. Knocked down by Mijares. Over to Mauer. The throw. Here comes Gardner. Can he score? He's out. Oh, what a play by Mauer. And a big gamble by Gardner. For the second out. Wow, that would have been a dramatic finish to this ball game. But not to be.
I'll tell you, first of all, the game was saved right there by that ball being knocked down in the infield. But then Mauer comes back. Gardner gets a little greedy, especially with 1 out, tries to score on a ball, give himself an angle. And Mauer gets back and gets him out. Pretty dramatic play at home plate.
Incredible incredible read. We'll see Robbie Thompson can't quite pick him up and see what kind of call he made there, but wow, Gardner's got explosive speed. Maurer, great play. What a diving save. Just incredible.
You know, that's a great play if he scores, but it's a bad play because he didn't, because it was 1 out, he's at third base. It's really, you got to be sure you're going to be able to get in there. With 2 outs, maybe you could see doing that, but with 1 out, if you don't make it, it's not a good play.
You know, it's funny because yesterday in our scouting, we talked about Joe Mauer, how he wasn't just a great baseball player, but a great athlete. I mean, what an athletic play as a catcher to come back there, full out dive. You see Gardner can probably hear those fans roaring that you just can't get there quick enough.
Well, here's Cano. He pinch hit for Cash and flied out to left. That was in the 8th inning. So now Cervelli, who picks up a hit, he's at first. Popped up and fouled away.
Well, I couldn't really tell, Michael, on on our replays whether third base coach Rob Thompson made that call or Gardner did that on his own. Well, hard to say. It'd be interesting to talk to Robbie after the game. He's had an excellent series at third base with his calls at Gardner's inside the Parker, and then earlier on the sac fly to Span.
Yeah, that's a reaction play. I got to believe Gardner just came around third, saw it, tried to take advantage of it. It'd be hard for a third base coach to be waving a guy around there because that ball was in front of him.
Also, it was a smart play by Maurer not to try to make the out at first.
See Rob Thompson right here.
Pointing at third right there.
That's Gardner all the way. That's Gardner's read. You're right, Paulie.
Well, Rob Thompson continues to have a good series. Boy, you like your chances. Runner at third base with Cano up, but now 0-2, 2 outs, runner at first. Fouled away.
Bahar, there's so many facets to that play. Baharis goes behind his back, slaps at it, thinks he's got it, is running towards third, then can't find the ball. I mean, there's just so many layers to that particular play. What an exciting play. Questionable strategy, as you guys point out, with 1 out, stop at third. Rarely do you see a play like that in a big league game.
Especially in the bottom of the 9th.
That would not have been a walk-off. That would have been a runoff win. So Cervelli picks up a hit, and I believe they just score that. The put out is unassisted 2 at home plate. But if Maurer had actually tried to get Cervelli at first base, then Gardner would have scored easily. And he knew enough to hold on to the ball. He just faked. And now Maurer wants to talk to Mijares.
Interesting to see. Did you see anybody up in the Yankee bullpen?
Harris was throwing earlier.
I can't believe that you watch Gardner again and again. This is his read. That ball's in front. He feels like he can score. But the only thing is, when you come around third base, you're coming around wide. So you don't have a straight line to the plate. So it's going to take you a little bit longer.
Well, that ball, initially off the bat, it's a base hit up the middle, too. I mean, Harris goes behind his back with his glove.
I think it might have got him on the leg. I'm not sure because it carried him right back out. And I wonder, guys, if Maurer faked to first and that kind of drew Gardner into trying to score, thinking the ball was going to go to first. So many things to dissect in that play, as David said, and Kim Jones will work the clubhouse after the game. She'll have all the answers on that on the WB Mason postgame. 1-2. Driven out into left center field, but Span is there, and we're going to extra innings. Free baseball. Bonus Cantos here in the Bronx for the 2nd day in a row. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. They almost won it that way, but they did not. Maurer beat Gardner to home plate, held on to the ball, and Chad Fairchild says, "You're How heads up is this, David and Paul? Joe Mauer, when he got the carom off the leg of Mijares, he had the presence of mind to pump fake to first. And that's probably what got Gardner to say, I've got a chance, because if the ball goes to first, the game is over. And then just a great athletic play, head first dive. The two run into each other, and then he holds on to the ball. He's got that catcher's mitt, and he's doing it with one hand. And let's see it in real speed. Brilliant baseball play. Two batting titles are ready, and if he doesn't get hurt, he's a Hall of Fame type player. That's how good he is.
You could say, I mean, all the hype, he lives up to the hype without a doubt. I mean, both sides of the, obviously his hitting ability.
Brett Gardner takes over in center. Melky moves from center to right. Remember, Gardner had pinch run for the right fielder Swisher. New pitcher on the mound is Alfredo Aceves, who got the win in yesterday's game. And he deals to Brian Busher a strike. 1-1.
It's funny because I was looking at that replay, Michael, and I'm just wondering, as he pump fakes, does he realize he doesn't have a chance at first base, or does he intentionally pump fake? If he realizes he doesn't have a chance and he got lucky, and if he did pump fake, you're talking about a big league play right there.
You mean if he pump fake with the intent to get Gardner to try to score?
Come, right.
To bait him, yeah.
Well, you guys are to work in this game tomorrow, Coney. Why don't you get down to the locker room and find out the true story? Tell Michael and I.
Busher swings and misses off the off-speed pitch. 1 out.
Again, you see him come out. All right, he might decide, I don't have a play at first, and now I got him caught.
Barely got him caught because he was in no man's land almost himself. So.
Pitch to Gomez is low and inside, 1-0. Count 2-0. You want to keep Gomez off the bases. He wreaks havoc with his speed. He's 2 for 4. Last 2 times up, he's single. Before that, a ground ball to short, pop to second. And that's another pop up. Mark Teixeira makes the call. 2 outs.
It's a good start for Aceves, who's been impressive lately. And I'll tell you what, this is like a start for him. He's in. This is your game.
Right. When you come into a tie game, sure.
You're going to stay, win or lose, for the Yankees at this point. And Aceves has obviously been a starter in the past, and he's capable of going several innings if needed today.
If you're looking ahead to the bottom of the 10th, then why not? Top of the order for the Yankees, Jeter, Damon, and Teixeira. Punto bunts, and bunts foul. And Joe Nathan joins Jesse Crane.
Wonder if Nathan made that call to his dugout too, because he had pitched 4 consecutive days going into yesterday. He thought he might miss a couple days, but he was out of yesterday's game, up again today.
Well, they can afford to have him wait until they get a lead. You can't have a lead in extra innings on the road, but at home, once it reaches 8 innings, tie game, you bring your closer in. So it'll be Jesse Crane if they don't score here. And the 0-2. 1-2. Aceves, 1-2. Popped up. Teixeira again. And he'll make the play. And the Yankees are getting themselves a weapon out of the bullpen with Alfredo Aceves. They have another chance to win it in the bottom of the 10th inning. It's a 2-2 game. And who's the choice, David?
Well, it is Mr. Maurer. You see, this play's going to make a lot of highlight reel films. Back to the plate. Here comes Brett Gardner. Got him. What a play. Joe Maurer, Chevy player of the game.
Well, we go to the bottom of the 10th inning, and it'll be Jeter, Damon, and Teixeira against Jesse Crane. Three wild games between the Yankees and the Twins, and there's one more to go tomorrow night right here on Yes. Jeter fouls it back. This is what Crane's done, and that's Crane's business right there. 8.44, 11 hits in 10 2/3. And the 0-1. Blowing away 1-1. Jeter 3 for 8 against Crane. Way out in front. Count 1-2.
Jesse Crane, kind of a mid-90s fastball, power fastball, and a big over-the-top hook. We saw him yesterday in yesterday's game. Those guys, as you said, Paulie, right over the top. He's going to throw it as hard as he can with his fastball. He's got a little life on it, but pretty much a four-seamer right there, and that big overhand hook.
Got over the top, and he can run that ball in on Derek's hands right here, I'm sure.
Chopped to short, punto. One away. We mentioned tomorrow, the Yankees close out this series with the Twins right here in the Bronx. Coverage starts at 6 with batting practice today presented by Audi, and then the pregame show. Then Ken Singleton and David Cohn have the call from the booth. Twins Yankees tomorrow starting at 6 only on Yes. Paul and I will be on the Ferris wheel.
That's right. You get the funnel cakes, I'll get the snow cones.
You got it. And that one gets through Maurer. Got a piece of Fairchild. Count 1-0.
Johnny Damon, the beat goes on. 2 for 3 today. Nice sack bunt. Hitting .319 now on the year.
One and one.
You know, I wonder, Paulie, we talked about this before the game. In spring training, Joe Girardi decided to flip Johnny Damon and Derek Jeter in the batting order. Jeter's always batted second. Damon's always been a leadoff guy. I wonder at what point, do you assess the situation and maybe think about reversing that back to where those guys are used to being?
Yeah, it's funny how a manager will stick with something if you've been really successful. But, until the last week or so, the Yankees were kind of just treading water, we talked about. So, I don't know what's going to make his decision, because Derek's going to be Derek. He doesn't work the count. He's going to swing. He's going to inside out the ball. Johnny Damon's more of your true leadoff hitter. But as long as you're going through a good time right now, as long as this team continues to win, I don't think you're going to see many lineup changes.
Yeah, Jeter's 2 for 5 on the day.
And Damon is 2 for 3.
A lot of that had to do with Gardner winning that job out of camp, and you didn't want back-to-back lefties turning the lineup around when Gardner was hitting ninth. But now the lineup has changed so much now. I you might be right. You might flip-flop Jeet and Damon once in a while.
And Damon's worked the count full, 3-2.
Damon's power surge, you might push him down,
That's right.
down in the lineup. He's going to keep hitting him in the second deck. got a chance here. You look at Johnny Damon, you know, certain guys, I don't know, Paulie, when you're batting in this situation, are you looking for a ball to drive 3-2, trying to hit a homer here?
3-2, you're looking for, you know, the first thing is you don't want to give away an at-bat. I mean, he could walk you just as easy to throw you a good strike here. You don't want to pull off the ball and swing at a ball.
Payoff. Driven deep to right field. There it goes. Kadire back. See ya. Ball game over. A walk-off home run for Johnny Damon. 3 walk-off wins for the Yankees. Straight. And this one 3-2 in the Bronx. And another mob at home plate at the new house. Well, guys, it's getting to be a little bit of a habit, that's for sure. The Yankees have not had 3 straight walk-off wins since August of 1972. Here's how they did it today.
Fastball, you talked about it, Coney. 3-2 fastball. You think of Johnny Damon as a leadoff hitter. Well, come after him 3-2, and I'll tell you what, he's been so quick on that fastball inside this year. Another shot into the second deck. You said it, Michael. It's been very consistent for the Yankees. It's been good games, but the Minnesota Twins got to feel like they were in the position to win all 3 of these games, and they've lost every one of them.
So Johnny Damon, it's turning into Damon's deck out there in right field. And the Yankees have a season-long 5-game winning streak. And Johnny Damon just got a pie in the face from the starter of today's game, A.J. Burnett. And Kim Jones is getting to be a part of this. She's down there with Johnny Damon. Kimberly, how are you?
Well, Michael, AJ has struck again. Johnny, how's that taste?
It tastes very good. It's much better than shaving cream.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
This is great. I mean, 3 straight walk-offs. You know, it's pretty exciting for us. We're hopefully this means we're going to start playing better, and you know, things feel good right now.
The way you've been swinging the bat in that spot, do you think home run? Honestly.
Well, I try to get a pitch to hit, and with 2 strikes, I actually shortened my swing up a little bit there because I wanted to try to get on base. But I got a pitch, and I was finally able to score one up. They've been pitching me tough this whole series, so this feels good.
Is it true that Tony Pena in the dugout actually called that home run, though?
Well, that's what they're saying. A lot of times when someone hits a home run, someone always claims that they called it, but I actually believe Tony.
Are you guys superstitious? I mean, whatever you did Friday, Saturday, and today, you got to do again tomorrow, right?
Why not? You know, we'll go home, have a nice dinner. We have a night game tomorrow, so we get to sleep in a little bit, but we're playing well.
Johnny, just between us, we got to find a way to get AJ back, okay?
No problem. I'll take care of it.
Thank you, Johnny. Nice job, Michael.
Thank you, Kim. Boy, Kim's getting hit with shrapnel 3 days in a row with the new pie in the face stuff. And Susan Waldman doing some housekeeping there with Johnny Damon. And this is why I got that pie in the face. As the Yankees are pie in the sky right now in the Bronx. 3 straight walk-off wins in the Bronx. The view from above. Yankees have won 5 in a row. Pretty special stuff here in the Bronx. We'll be back.